All right, friends. I think if we got it correctly, we are live on the vertical and the horizontal. Let me turn on TikTok. We'll get TikTok rock and rolling. One second. One second. Should be an interesting night. I've got, I think, oh, hold on. Your God is imaginary. Cool. I think the audio video software here that we've been working on, that I've been working on, is basically functional. I'm currently using. Y'all can hear me, right? Let me know in the comments if y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me, right? Good. I am uh, running right now the entire live stream through a soundboard that is on my collaboration website that I put together for this. So I need to make sure that it's good. I see people are saying we got some audio. That's good. Good, 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 good. You heard some humming. Yeah, that was a good song. I was actually humming to. By the way, I don't know if y'all was able to catch it, but it was pretty fantastic. Nevertheless, I want to make sure everything's working. I need to make sure TikTok audios get happening. Give me 1 second. On TikTok, y'all can't hear me. Sounded off. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 1 second on TikTok. We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, okay. Let's see. We'll try one thing. Get rid of that. We're gonna add a channel. I'm gonna call this to TikTok. Selected input. We want. Let's see the TikTok. Yeah, it should be good there. OBS to mix. Oh, that's a remix style. You give me. Give me try this again. Okay. Let's see if that works now. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I know why. I know why. Sorry, that's my bad. That's better. That's what we were looking for. Okay. Then the sound going to TikTok is going to be right here, the virtual cable. And then we're going to change this to two. Yep, there we go. To TikTok. Y'all should be able to hear me on TikTok right now, which is weird. 1 second. I'm going to delete the audio source. TikTok be like that sometimes. Oh, they won't let me delete it. Okay. We'll do. I'll do what I did last time. 1 second. Do VB cable. Sure. Can you all hear me now? It looks like it's working now. The weird thing about TikTok is sometimes like sometimes the audio input just quits working, and then you have to delete it and then add it back in. It's just a TikTok thing. I don't know why it does that. It's kind of a nightmare of an app. TikTok Studio is. I really cannot wait for like TikTok to open it up so that you can stream to TikTok using another platform like StreamYard or OBS or anything of that nature. I think that would be much easier. With that being said, I need to remove this join link real quick though. 1 second. I'm going to remove that join link real quick. I'm gonna add some custom stuff here real quick, like before I forget, and I got to open the guest box before I forget as well. That's something that gets forgotten, and that'll fuck up the live stream if you don't have the guest box open. I don't know if you guys were aware of that one, but no guest box, no guest, right? Anyways, that's right. I need to get the join link put on the screen real quick. I apologize. Let me get the join link, the right one up here, so people can actually join, and then we should be good to go. Give me 1 second. Make sure I got it. Here's the link, and let's see. I'm going to add it here. Browser. We're going to call this join. Join and boop, prompt. I have to admit though, I kind of stole this prompt style. I didn't have time to do my own just yet. So I kind of stole this prompt style from the line. I have to. It's automated now. It's part of my software. I can just type whatever I want in here. But I got to customize it and kind of make it my own still yet. I didn't do that. That's the thing that I need to do, which is not a big deal. The customization is really not that big of a deal. So, but we got to get something that's like super like deconstruction zone specific. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be just deconstruction zone. Let me get it on the vertical stream real quick. We're going to call it join prompt. Boom. We got it there. All right. Now, rather than going in, because the thing that I was doing all this time is I was literally going into Canva and making new prompts all the time, and then downloading them and then plugging them into software. It's just a whole thing. So this way, I've got like 1 or 2 universal prompts, and then I could just type whatever the fuck I want in there, and it should be good to go. So there's some stuff that should be a little bit helpful. The other thing that we need, I got the join link in the prompt. In the prompt box. Can you all read the join link, the tinyurl.com/DZ chats? Is that readable for y'all? Let me know if it's not. That being said, I have to open up the guest box for YouTube real quick. All right, let me open that up so that people can actually join. All right. Of course, I don't have permissions to turn my camera on. Hold on. Yeah, do I have permission on my web browser? I do. I've got permission on the web browser, so we should be good there. Let's see. We'll just close the panel for now. I'm going to save my layout, and then let me reopen the guest box panel. Let's see. Panel, guest, video room, cool. All right, let's see if it loads now. Oh, of course it's not loading right now. Oh, cool. That's what I'm talking about. So now I got to fix that. It looks like I'm going to have to pop out the guest room myself. Okay, cool. Let me do that then. Let's see. Appreciate y'all being the guinea pigs here for this streaming software. I think it's mostly working here. There's just a couple things here and there that need tweaked. Like it looks like my guest room forgot to ask for credentials. Oh shit. I'll take guests from the TikTok queue first. Then we'll do it that way. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. It was working earlier today. I assumed something pretty minor got tweaked. Sometimes when you change one thing, it fucks up another thing, and then before you know it, there's like this cascading effect. One thing's fixed and 10 things broken. You know what I mean? But we'll have it up and running here in a second. We do have TikTok at least, so let's bring in our first TikTok guest, and then we'll grab some super chats after that. We're gonna bring in G1. Welcome in, G1. Are you at least 18? And do you believe in God?
Yeah, I do believe in God. Wait,
No, no, I don't. I don't believe in God. Is there a good
can you hear
reason
feedback?
why I should?
I can hear feedback, like
I can't.
echoing.
You can hear me echoing.
No, I can hear myself. I don't know if the audience can also hear me as well.
Oh, you can hear yourself echoing. Oh, 1 second.
The
Sorry, it should be better now. I had the audio routing sending your voice to TikTok as well.
okay.
Yeah, you should be good now.
I
You guys
kind
don't
of
hear
can
him
still
twice now,
hear
right?
myself, like a little bit.
All right, let me make sure. Right now, your
It's not. I'm telling
audio.
you, it's not me.
Oh, it's still echoing. The audience says, interesting. Wonder why it's still echoing. Your
Yeah,
audio should literally only be going to me right now. Um, what about now? If he talks, is he still echoing?
but let me hear. It. Yeah, I can hear myself.
Oh, you can still hear yourself.
Yeah, I can legit like. This is
Oh,
pretty annoying.
you know what? Give me a second.
Maybe try to embarrass someone else. Maybe it might be me. Try embarrassing someone else.
All right, I assume now when he talks, it's not going to double. I've got all the audio output from TikTok turned off. No, I know you're. Yeah, I know you're not. Yeah. No, I didn't think you were using voice changer. Sometimes we get people on here that they just have really interesting sounding voices. One of my friends, also named Ems, has a really deep voice. Sometimes they call him a robot, but obviously he's not a robot. Nevertheless, so I trust that your voice is your voice. So, which particular God do you believe in? Sure. Okay. And is there, say, a good like reason, piece of evidence, or like a fact that would lead one, or even an argument that would lead one to believe that this God is real? That is kind of the it is kind of the goal. Now, when we say prove, I don't know if I would use the word prove. I think evidence. Like if you have evidence, I think that would be good enough. Like I don't think because there's some things that are maybe rather difficult to prove unless like it's a mathematic formula. Mathematics are proofs, but other than that, I would count. I would say we would like to hear evidence, perhaps that might move the needle. Maybe there's evidence that would lead one to believe that Christianity was more likely to be true than less likely to be true. Yeah, I think that's fine. That's why I said, an argument would count, I think, as evidence. I don't think that arguments are worthless. I think they can count as evidence. That is what we're doing. Yeah, you can give an argument for God. It could be a factual argument. It could be, so that'd be like evidentiary. It could be like metaphysical. Oh, sorry, they're saying on YouTube they can't hear you. 1 second. I apologize, YouTube. I apologize. That's on me. Let me make sure that the audio output is going to get routed. 1 second. 1 second. All right. Let's see. TikTok to the soundboard. All right. Please tell me there's no audio doubling this time.
Nah. Oh no, I can hear myself again.
All right. I'm going to have to open up a second mixer. I don't know why this particular mixer wants to double your audio, but it's not the end of the world. I've got 2 mixers I could run until I get the bug worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Give me a second. Okay, now your audio should go to a completely separate soundboard that should not at all go back to TikTok. Let me see if it works now.
Yeah, you can hear me. Yeah, I don't hear myself. I think it's good.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see the sound meter on YouTube is moving, so it should be sending the audio out over there. So it should be okay. TikTok, you can still hear them, and there's no echoing, right? Right, we should be good. Yeah, whatever is wrong with that particular mix input, I'll have to look at that later. It's not the end of the world. Appreciate you giving me a moment to tweak that. I got a whole bunch of shitload of new software that I did trying to consolidate my setup so I can use like 2 monitors instead of 4. And my mixer was like the most complex things to design, but it looks like there must be a bug somewhere in it. Nevertheless, yeah, did you have like a philosophical argument, metaphysical argument, anything like that for the Christian God or for a generic God? Because I mean, we'd definitely be
Yeah,
interested
just
in hearing.
like just like for classical theist God.
Sure.
So there's gonna be like preliminaries, right? So the preliminaries are just going to be, let me just give like a definition of essence and existence, right? So like essence just means what something is. Like it's going to be like it could be like a bundle of properties which is like necessary for a thing to have. And it wouldn't be possible for that thing to be that thing if it doesn't have this particular property or all the properties which is being considered, right?
Right. Yeah. So we would say typically your version of essence and mine is the same. Like something's essence refers to its characteristics and properties that are like, or we would say are essential. Like there are some characteristic and properties like you and I share, and there's some that we don't. But the ones that make us the human category, those would be called essential if you want to be categorized as a human. So when I use essence, I think these are the essential characteristics for whatever category we're using, if that category is God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, precisely, right? So yeah, so that would be the definition of essence, right? And then existence, there isn't going to be a definition. I feel like we kind of intuitively know what existence is, right? But we can just say that existence is going to be the principle which makes something which has a nature real, right? Which is basically that relation there, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it makes sense so far. I mean, I think we agree on these these definitions. definitions. If
I think
we
there's an
disagree,
echo,
let you know.
like you're, I think you're accurate.
Yep.
I
Sorry
think
about
you're
that.
accurate. No, I'm saying I think you're accurate. Okay, okay. So yeah, so okay, cool. So we understand for creatures, right? Their natures, right, what make them what they are, and the act of being, but what makes them real is going to be different. Because if their existence is something which, was like, let's say, like a property or predicate within the set of what makes them what they are, then it would mean that if they do have a nature, then they do exist, right? So it wouldn't be the case that this entity, right, cannot exist in some possible world. Like, for example, like a unicorn has a nature, right? Would you say? But it
I
doesn't
mean,
exist, right?
as far as I can tell. Oh fuck! Hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm gonna delete one of these. As far as I can tell,
I think you're
like
echoing. You're still echoing.
I'm just gonna delete those channels altogether. Better. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Just you're echoing. Like I'm not echoing. It's just I don't know why.
What about now? Oh, we lost him. Still an echo. Is it? What about now? I just turned off the. I think I got two web pages open. Oh fuck! There it is. Still echoing. Yep. All right. It should be not echoing now. Should be okay now. So shame we lost G1. My assumption is that he. Oh no, he's back. I think G1 just had a connection gap.
Yeah.
Welcome back, G1.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I accidentally like swept. I don't know, something. With like TikTok sometimes glitches. Like sometimes I was trying to scroll up the messages and then it swept me out. But yeah. So what was the last thing that I said?
I think
it was about the unicorn. I think it's echoing again now.
Okay. Should be good. I think we were talking about we defined essence.
Yeah, you're still echoing.
Am I echoing?
I genuinely don't know. What do you? I genuinely don't know why you're echoing.
It's so weird. I don't have this channel plugged into my soundboard at all. There should be no echoing. I'm literally directing my audio right at you. It's still echoing right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you just echoing. I think I don't know what's. I think you're live or something. Just I don't know what's going on.
I do. I'll close out that video room. That video room seems to be interfering with the audio. I'll just use my I'll have to work
Yeah, it's
on
better now. You're not echoing.
work on the audio configuration there. But that being said, can the guests I know on YouTube it's echoing. Can the guests on YouTube still hear G1 though? I'm pretty sure y'all should be able to hear G1, right?
Hello, people on YouTube. Can you hear me?
Yeah, they should be able to hear you. I can see the sound.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So,
Okay.
I mean, I think we agree, that there are everything that exists has characteristics. That's how we can define its existence. And we were talking a little bit. It seemed like you were about to say that some things that exist perhaps have different types of properties. Is that where we left off?
It's not different types of properties, but more or less is that if existence is included in their essence, then it would mean that they would exist, right? Meaning that it wouldn't be the case that like an individual could not fail to exist in some possible world, right? Because it would mean that it would be impossible given that, existence is included in the definition of nature, right, as like an essential property. Like if all created beings like had a nature, right, and existence is something which is attached to it, like necessarily, then it would mean that they can't fail to exist. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think the problem that we have though is the minute we define one of the characteristics as existence, like say this thing has the characteristic of existence, then I feel like it becomes circular if you're trying to prove that the thing does have existence. I feel like that's one of those properties that you have to, I don't know, like give evidence for before we can say that it does indeed exist for any given entity.
The point is well, it's not. In fact, the point isn't that existence is going to be a property which like is in this in the natures of things, right? That's not the point. In fact, it's the opposite. That if we can recognize that things have a nature, right, and existence isn't going to be included in that set, then it means that existence isn't going to be essential to what makes them what they are. You get what I'm saying?
So my understanding is if we're talking about property sets of things that exist,
Mm.
it seems just like trivially true that things that exist have the property of existence.
No, well, I don't think exist. Well, is either existence is going to be accidental, right, or is going to be essential, right? But if it is the case that these things are contingent, right, then it would mean that existence here would be treated as an accident, right? Meaning that it is possible for these things not to exist. But if existence is being treated as essential, right, then it cannot be the case that these things which do have this property of existence can fail to exist in some possible world, because that would be like metaphysically impossible.
So are you running like a mixed argument from the ontological and the contingent argument as one, or what are we doing here?
No, no, I'm not giving like an ontological. You could probably say like it's a variation of a contingent argument, but the contingency is being analyzed, right? Because when we say like an object is contingent, right, then it means that it exists, but it can fail to exist, right? And I'm saying there's going to be a reason for that. And the reason for that is going to be that there's a distinction between the nature and the existence, right, which is practically conformed to it. And the conformity is going to be contributed in relation to like an efficient cause, which grounds the existence of the contingent thing.
Right, but when we're talking about things that we don't know exist, right? We can assign it the property. We can say this thing has the property of necessity because it can't fail to exist. And that's great if you just randomly assign that property to something, but I could assign it to all kinds of stuff. I could assign it to magic unicorns, I could assign it to, floating teapots. It still, I think, is kind of up to the person who's making the argument to somehow demonstrate that the thing actually does have the property and it does exist.
Yeah, but the point is, we're not saying, look, just saying something exists doesn't mean it exists, right? Because existence is going to be something which is apart from my saying. Existence, right, is going to be something which we come to know, right, via like, sense data, right? And my point is that when we say things about things, it implies that they do exist, right? By which we can say this predicate either applies to it or it doesn't apply to it. Like for example, if I say like, DZ has, good hairline, right? It's either going to be true or false, right? Because DZ does exist, right? And the predicate, right, is either going to be something which is satisfied by DZ or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but those properties are observable.
Yeah, those properties are observable, but existence, right, is going to be something which we know intuitively, right? Because existence is just going to be that which like it's going to be opposite of nothing, right? Like
Yeah.
existence is just going to be something, right? Like it could be, a dog, it could be a cat, it could be a table, right? Right. So something here, right? We could probably like use some like existential quantification to kind of like denote that like they exist in X, such that X has so and so. Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, but I'm not really sure how this is going to go around the bend to demonstrating that the God exists and that it has these properties. Because
Yeah.
there are
So
gods, as you
so
know, that are in history that we would say had the property of existence, but only at the time that they existed. Like the Greek gods and even some of the ancient Near Eastern gods, they could come into existence and go out of existence. It wouldn't be necessary for them to have the characteristic of eternal existence.
Yeah, that's fine. I understand that in their view, existence may be characterized as a property, but more or less, what I'm trying to like pick at is that if you grant that when we look at created things or contingent things, right, there is going to be like a difference between the nature and the existence, right? So there is going to be a real distinction such that we can conceive of something, right? Like conceive of something's nature without that thing existing. Like for example, a unicorn. We can conceive a unicorn exists. I mean, we can conceive the nature of a unicorn, but that doesn't mean
Sure.
that a unicorn exists, right?
Well, yeah, we can conceive of anything using our imagination. It's not tied to whether or not it exists, which is why initially I was confused. I thought you're going to run the ontological argument, which actually is
No,
kind
no,
of
no,
the
no, no, no,
opposite.
no,
If
no,
you could imagine a maximal being, then it must exist in all possible
no,
worlds,
no,
but
no.
that's a silly argument.
No, no, that's not. So yeah, so okay, beautiful. So if you grant that there is going to be a difference between like, existence and nature, right? When we're speaking about like created entities, right? Then it means that there needs to be something which accounts, right, for this relation being combined. Because if we have a world, for example, where no beings exist, right? So these contingent beings don't exist in this world and there's only possible beings, right? There needs to be something which guarantees its possibility, right? Which has to be something necessary
What do you
because
mean by
when we see
guarantees its possibility?
when I mean like guarantees that it's possible, like it means that it has to be possible for it to exist in some world, right? Because if we have a world where there's only possible things, right, then there's nothing in that world which can actually guarantee any possible thing as well as itself to exist, right? Which would mean that that world itself would be an impossible world, which makes no sense.
I don't know what you mean by guarantee. I guess is where I'm hung up at. Like if something exists,
Guarantee
we would just say that it has existence. I don't know why the existence of something needs to have a guarantee on it. Maybe I'm not
is
understanding you
because
correctly, but it doesn't make sense to me.
when we see something that's possible, what does it mean? It means that one, it's not a contradiction, and two, it can exist, right?
Yeah,
When we're
I
speaking
mean,
about like things,
I think there's two possibilities, right? There's like logical possibilities, and then there's, I would say, like physical possibilities, something that we would say is possible according to what we know about science. Like it's possible for, for certain types of stars to exist with like an infinite, nearly infinite amount of density, right? But it wouldn't be possible according to the laws of physics, as far as we can tell, to have one that has like the density of styrofoam, right? I think so. When we talk about possibility, those are the two categories I would lump it into.
yeah. So that's why I made a very precise restriction about what's being spoken about here. We're speaking about like real things or things that can be like concrete, such that they can exist independently of the mind. So possible beings is what's being analyzed here. So what I'm saying is that when we say something is possible, but it could exist, right, then it means that it can exist in some world. And if it can exist in some world, then there needs to be something which is actual to provide or guarantee that existence. That's the
I
point that
don't
I'm making now.
I don't know what that means, right? If something is possible to exist, I don't know why you would need anything to guarantee that thing's existence.
Because possibility, because when we look, because there's two aspects of possibility. When we look at like when we look at things, for example, right? We could say unicorns is possible for unicorns to exist because there isn't any contradiction. Do you agree?
I would say it's logically possible for unicorns to exist, but I think there are
Exactly.
some physical constraints. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So it's logically possible for unicorns to exist. There may be
Uh-huh.
some physical constraints, but it is going to be logically possible, right? But given that
Okay.
it's logically possible and it isn't going to be contradictory, then it's possible for it to exist
I,
because
I
logical
mean,
modality is going to be something which constrains like metaphysical modality as well.
we agree, right? Something that has the possibility of existing has the possibility of existing. I'm not sure we need much more
No,
than
I'm
that,
not
right?
saying no. I'm not just saying for something that has the possibility of existing, has the possibility of existing. I'm saying that when we say that something is possible, we can view it in two respects. In one respect, we're just saying that it isn't a contradiction. So when we analyze like the concept of this thing, right, there isn't going to be any contradiction there. But that isn't sufficient for it to exist just because it's intrinsically possible, right?
Well, well, I agree. Yeah, just because something's logically possible, I wouldn't say that it then guarantees its existence.
Okay, so what guarantees its existence can't be the concepts itself or the nature of the thing itself. It would have to be something which is extrinsic to the nature itself, right? And that's going to be
What
extrinsic possibility.
What do you mean by intrinsic? So my understanding of something that
Ext-
like an intrinsic property to me just means something that is by default the case. How are you using it?
I'm not talking. No, I'm saying intrinsic possibility and extrinsic possibility. There's a distinction there. So when we're saying
What's your
something is
how are you
intrinsically
using the
possible,
words?
what intrinsic and extrinsic? Intrinsic is going to be something that's being considered in the thing itself, right? Or with the thing, right, without any relation to something else. And extrinsic possibility is going to have a relation to something outside of itself that's being considered.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. These are new definitions for me. The concept of intrinsic and extrinsic describe whether the value, cause, or origin of something comes from within an object or if it from outside. Okay, so you're just saying a property of something is
No, it's not.
intrinsic.
It's not like a property. No, it's not a property. Look, let me give an example with
Well,
the ontological argument.
value,
Look,
cause,
let
or
me give.
origin.
No, that's not what I mean. Look, remember earlier you were speaking about the ontological argument, right? And you thought I was going to run it.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe that the ontological argument, right, commits something which is fallacious, such that um, it's conflating between parasitic reference, right? No, parasitic constitution, as well as constitution regarding to like the commitments of the individual. Like for example, when we say like, oh, God exists, right? Then of course that's going to be within the commitments of a Christian belief, right? But when someone says, oh yeah, you believe God exists, that doesn't mean I'm committed to believe that God exists. There's a distinction being there because the way in which you're understanding the sentence is different from the way in which I'm understanding the sentence. And Frege makes the point that when we say something is like good or perfect or it's possible, all of this type of stuff, right? It's not sufficient for it to exist just because it's possible. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, we've been agreeing on this the whole time. I just don't know how this is going, like how where this gets you to God.
Okay. So my point
Yeah.
is if the sufficiency for it to exist isn't going to be that it's the sufficiency for it to exist isn't that it is just possible such that there's no contradiction. The sufficiency for something to exist has to be in relation to like some extrinsic cause. That's the point that I'm picking out.
I don't understand the point.
Look,
So like
if we're
if
saying,
something has
bro,
an intrinsic cause, that just means it's able to do something on its own. Like it doesn't need an external thing to do it. So like me speaking would be like the words leaving my mouth, I'm intrinsically causing.
no, I'm not talking. I'm talking about like an efficient cause. Right? So when I'm saying extrinsic cause, I'm talking about an efficient cause. Because look,
What's an
we
efficient
both
cause?
an efficient cause is something which produces some effect. That's what an efficient
You
cause
mean
is, right?
an actual cause that actually exists, not a fictional one.
No, I said efficient cause, not
Efficient
fiction
cause
cause.
would be a cause
That by
that
which
actually exists. It actually does the thing it's supposed to.
no. That I would no efficient cause is that which
Buddy,
produces something to
G1,
exist,
this is
but
this is why like
implies the
going into
existence of it.
non-philosophical spaces is like so like boring for the audience. Just use words
What
that
do you mean? I'm
normal
giving you the
people
definition.
just
I'm telling
use.
you
I know
about what you,
no one no, listen, no one signed up to learn 10 new words. Just use regular language, man. You're smart. You can
efficient
use
cause
regular
is
words.
efficient cause is a regular word.
You can use regular words, G1. Come on.
If you don't know what efficient cause is, bro,
But I didn't study philosophy. I went to school and learned real stuff.
efficient cause is a term which is used outside of philosophy as well. You know that.
I've never heard it once.
You never heard it once. So you never heard the term cause being
I've
used
never heard
in a
efficient
restricted
cause
sense.
outside of talking philosophy on TikTok. It's it.
Then that's a huge problem then. So
No, it's not
you
a
can
you
understand there's
problem.
different. So what
Put
do you
a
think cause is?
put
What do
a
you think cause
0 in the
means?
comments if you've never heard efficient cause until you got on TikTok and started hearing philosophy debates.
Google, bro, just Google. You've been Googling the whole time, but I've been giving you definitions. I don't know why you're like, you're upset now.
I'm not upset. I'm trying to help you understand that it's boring for me and the audience if you keep using words that make us endlessly define them. Listen, again, you're smart.
What do you mean
You studied
endlessly define
philosophy.
them?
Hold
I'm
on,
assuming
G1.
that you.
Hold on, G1. You're smart enough to know that not everyone here studied whatever you studied. If you can't use normal people words to communicate it, that just means one of two things. Either you don't care about the audience, or number two, you just want to sound smart. And it's great to just sound smart, but the reality is we want the audience to follow the discussion. This is not just about me and you. I want the
Mm,
audience to see what's happening, which means
mm-hmm.
every time we have to stop to define a word,
Okay.
they're not just going to
Okay.
remember it right away. They're 5 minutes from now they're going to forget that word.
Mm,
Oh, what the fuck was that again? They didn't come here for a test. Just use normal
okay.
people
Okay.
words and we'll get through it.
Okay. Oh, maybe number three. I assumed that you knew the literature and the terms
Why?
which is contained within the literature. Yeah, because you said ontological argument and it uses these senses in the literature itself. So I assumed that you know these basic terms, but it seems like you don't know these basic terms.
No, I
Don't.
know the arguments because people get on TikTok and use them, and eventually you learn the names of them. But no, I didn't. I didn't study the literature at all. But I took one philosophy class in college, and that
Wait,
was
hold
it.
on.
I had a ball, but we
I'm
didn't
still
do
here.
any. Yeah, you're still here.
Am I still here? Oh,
Yeah,
for a second I thought I was like, yeah, I just assumed that you knew about the literature because you said ontological argument. These are terms which is basic, right? Okay, anyways, okay. If you want me to say in baby terms, just say that. Like, I don't know why
I didn't
it
say
just took
baby
that long.
terms.
Okay,
It says
cool.
normal people terms. If your
Yeah,
grandmother doesn't know
baby
these
terms,
definitions, then it's not.
baby terms, but it's
These are
fine,
not
right?
Babel
Okay, cool.
terms.
So,
These are niche terms. Like if you
so you know
didn't
what
study
ontological? So,
philosophy, you wouldn't know these words. Just like if I started using, I got a background in electrical engineering. If I just started talking about fucking coulombs and electrical engineering measurements, are you going to know what I'm talking about? No, it's ridiculous to
wait,
expect
so do you
everyone to
think?
know the niche words from whatever the thing is that you studied. Just use normal people words. It doesn't make anyone a baby. It just means you studied something that the rest of us didn't, and that's fine. You can use normal people words to explain it.
Okay, so when you use the ontological argument, right? So you think that the people in here knows what ontology is?
Yeah, in fact, ontological argument is one that we hear a lot. In fact,
So that's not what I asked.
it's
That's
one
not
of
what
the
I
most
asked.
commonly used
That's not
arguments. We
what I
hear the
asked.
ontological argument. We hear tag a lot. It's pretty common.
That's not what I asked. I never asked like if it is an argument which people provide. I'm saying that do they know the terms which is utilized within the argument? But look, it's fine. I can use like simpler
Just
terms.
assume that my audience doesn't study
No, I can use
philosophy,
simpler
and
terms. It's
we can
fine.
get through it.
It's fine. I assume that this is like the atheist community and all of these guys, right, act like they're more superior than Christians and we're idiots. But now when a Christian is articulating himself, there's a problem here. But okay, it's fine. I'll
I have no
stoop
idea
to
what
you.
you're talking about. I went to
It
school
is
for electrical engineering and to
it's
study the
fine.
Bible. So I know niche words related to those two fields. I don't know niche words related to your field. And the fun thing is, I don't need to know any philosophy to know that Christianity is not true. That's
Look,
just dead on
I
arrival.
can break it down. I'm not saying I can't break it down. Let me break it down to you. Look,
Go
okay,
for it.
I did it. Okay, so what I'm saying simply is that when we have a cause, right, there's going to be an effect, right? But just because it's possible for the effect to occur doesn't guarantee the effect occurring. Does that make
We
sense?
agree. But yeah, we
Okay.
agreed on this a while ago. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So what guarantees the effect occurring is going to be the cause, right?
But yeah, like, well,
Well,
a
or no?
cause, a cause is
Huh?
going to guarantee a effect.
Huh? That's not the question which I just asked you.
Just that I'm agreeing with you. The effect is going to be caused by the cause. That's the thing that precedes it.
The effect is going to be caused by the cause. Yeah, of
I
course, that's
I
trivial.
agree. That's
Right, you're just stating
I know
something which
that,
is obvious. But
but
I
that's what
asked you a
you said.
question
I'm
which,
restating it.
where you're asking,
I'm just
okay,
restating it. That's it.
and what I stated is that what guarantees the possibility of the effect is going to be the cause, right? So just because it's possible doesn't mean
Well,
it exists.
yeah, I'd say that's not
It
usually the
exists because of the
way.
effect.
That's not usually the like. I guess I understand what you're saying. I wouldn't have used the word guarantee, but now that you've spelled it out, yeah, you can use the word guarantee. I guess like the thing that precedes the effect, which is the cause, would be the thing that causes the effect. But I don't. I'm not sure what guarantee has to do with
Okay,
it.
beautiful, beautiful. So if things or created thing, if created things are effects, right, then it means that prior to them being effects, they were possible, right? And the possibility of the effects, right, has to be guaranteed by some efficient cause, right?
So yeah, effects must be preceded by causes. We agree. What's the problem here?
Okay. So if we have a world where we only have possible effects, right, then for the possible effects to be real has to be real by some cause, right?
Yeah, we agree. Yeah, fake causes
Okay.
don't cause real events. I mean, we can make
That's not
this
what I'm
easier. If
saying.
you're just
That's not
doing
what
the
I'm
argument
saying.
from contingency, we can fast
That isn't
forward.
what I'm saying. I'm not saying
Okay.
fake causes doesn't cause fake events. My point is that prior, right, if every effect, right, was once possible, right, and we're saying that there's going to be a world where there's only possible effects, right, for the possible effects to actually be real, there has to be some cause, and this cause has to be necessary. And the reason for
Well,
that
wait.
is going
Well,
to be
for possible effects, that's not something I would say requires a cause. I mean,
possible
they don't
effect. What?
exist. They would, if
Wait.
they existed, require a cause.
So a possible effect doesn't require a cause to exist. So a possible
No,
effect
I'm
can
saying
exist without cause.
a possible effect needs to have
Uh
a
huh.
possible cause. Just because a possible
That is not what I'm
effect
asking.
exists doesn't mean that the cause for it already exists. It's a timeline
That
issue.
isn't that no wait. If that's not what I'm asking, I'm saying if there's an effect, right, then there is going to be some cause which exists because an
I
effect is going to
I
be
agree, but you
posterior to the
said
cause.
possible effect.
But the earlier I said a possible effect can only exist, right, if there's going to be a cause, right, because the existence
But
of the effect is demanded by the cause itself, which
what I'm
actually
saying
exists.
is the cause for a possible effect is also just possible until it happens.
But that's your okay. But that's okay. That's fine. Then it would just mean that that's going to be an effect.
It, I mean, if the
It,
cause and the effect both exist, yeah.
yeah. If look, you just didn't deal with the argument. You just said that if the effect is possible, oh yeah, the cause can also be possible. Well, of course. Like what the heck? We are causes, right? But we possibly, right? Um, you possibly there
But
was a one point in time in which we didn't
what
exist. So
G1,
so we were
what I'm
possible
trying to say
effects.
is I'm trying to prevent like word smuggling, which is what happens in most of these conversations. When we say that there's a possible effect, all I'm saying is yes, there's going to be a cause that would cause that effect if the effect existed. If the effect doesn't exist, that means the cause for that is still not existent as well. Now, both of those could exist in the future, but I would call both of them possible causes and effects. I wouldn't say one is
Yeah, that's talking
possible and
about
the other one is actual.
Yeah, that's talking about real possibility. You're just saying that for some effect to be possible within this world, right, there has to be a cause which actually exists for this effect to exist in this world,
But
right?
I'm
But
saying the opposite of that is
I'm
also
speaking
true.
about, of course, yeah, of course, that's not the point. I'm speaking about logical possibility. I'm saying if there's a world, right, in which only possible effects exist, right, and we say that and we stipulate that possible effects are going to be possible such that they can be affected or can exist because of some cause, right, then it cannot be the case that they can exist in this world because there's only possible effects which exist in this world. So that's going to be an impossible world, right? Which we now say that because that world is going to be impossible, right? We can say that there has to be some necessary cause which guarantees like these possible effects to exist. in that
Again,
world or some other
I
world.
don't I don't agree. I think if something only exists in possibility, then that thing's cause is only a possibility as well.
I don't think you're tracking what I'm saying. If there's
Maybe
one
not.
world, if there's a world, right, there's a world where there's only possible effects, DZ. There's only possible effects. And remember, possibility doesn't is not sufficient for it to exist. Just because we see something's
I
possible is not
agree.
sufficient for it
So
to exist.
a
Okay,
world with
beautiful.
only possible effects would be a world that has no effects or causes.
It'll be beautiful. And is that is that world possible or impossible?
By definition, you said it's possible. So a
No,
possible
no, I'm
effect
saying that's an
with
impossible
possible
world. I'm saying there's a
causes is a
contradiction.
possible world.
I'm saying there's a contradiction. I'm saying, is that
In
possible or
what?
impossible? I'm saying if there's a world in which we see there's possible effects, right, but those effects cannot be obtained in that world at all, right? Is that world impossible or possible?
You mean, is there a world that has only possible effects, no actual effects? I mean, that would just be a world that doesn't exist because you would need cause and effect for anything to exist. That's like the whole idea of existence.
Oh, wow, congratulations, bro. So now you figured it out. So that's the whole
This
point.
is
So
this is like
if you
really
agree, if you,
like
did you just
really
not,
scraping the bottom of the barrel here. What?
did you just not,
How does this get to anything necessary? I have no idea where necessary is
because
coming in at.
because the whole point is if we're saying that the world in which only possible effects, right, are in this world, right, and they can't exist in that world, then it is going to be an impossible world, which would mean that there has to be something necessary and not possible, right, which allows those possible things to exist in that world
That's where
or
I
any
don't see
other
the
world.
connection. I don't see the connection.
What?
I think a possible um, a possible effect obviously must be preceded by a cause, but I wouldn't cause the thing. I wouldn't call that thing necessary,
So it is so that okay. So those possible effects in that world, there's only possible things in that world, right?
which
Possible
means
effects in
there
that world.
are only possible effects in that world or possible
Yeah, if
causes.
there's only possible effects in the world, can those possible effects exist in that world? Like really? Can they
We
really
just
exist?
said possible effects. If there's no actual effects, would be a world without causation. So
I don't think you understand what I'm saying,
it'd be a
man.
static world. Like logically, it'd just be a static world. But from like a physics point of view, it seems absurd because you probably need time to exist.
No, when we stipulate a world, right? Right, there's going to be a thing, something which exists in that world,
We agree
right?
a world it can't be
Okay.
nothing.
Okay, beautiful. So so when we're saying there's a world, there's a domain, and we're saying there's going to be possible effects, right? But these possible effects don't exist in that world. If the possible effects don't exist in that world, right, and they can't exist in that world, right, because of no cause, right, because those causes are also going to be possible, right, then those possible effects can never exist in that world. It's going to be an impossible world. That's my point.
But I mean, I don't see where this is getting us. We already agree. If we have a world that only has possible effects and no actual effects, then that's a world that also has no actual causes. And without causes and effects, it
That
seems
isn't
like
what
we've
I'm
got
saying. That is
a world that doesn't actually exist.
no, no. That isn't what I'm saying. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's no cause. There's no kind. Look, the point. Oh my goodness. The point is, if
And
there's only possible effects in that world,
the weird
right? Is
like
it possible for
word
those effects?
games people have to engage in to try to like talk God into existence is wild.
With these, if you're not tracking, it's not my problem. Like, do you want me to write it down for you?
Sure, yeah. Give me P1.
Okay. So
I got it.
let me
I got a
just share
notepad
it to somebody.
here. We can uh, we can get it going. Give me a second.
Mm.
All right. Notepad is open. What we got for P1?
For P1, we're gonna say if there's a world in which only possible say like if there's a world and there's possible effects, right, in that world. But tell me when you're done.
I'm writing it. Possible effects.
If
I'm
there's a
putting a
world where
note in
there's
here as
possible,
well.
yeah. So if there's a world in which it's possible for the effects, right, to exist in that world, right,
I'm listening.
then it can exist.
Okay, so P1 is if there is a world where only possible effects exist, then what?
No, I want to make it more precise. So I said if there's a possible world in which effects can exist, right, then that existence is owed to some cause.
Okay, then, okay, so remember, if they can exist, then
Yeah, if there's
their
a possible world in which the effects can exist in that world,
existence must
then
have a cause. Are we good there?
okay. Yeah, well, what did you write down?
Oh, sorry. Let me put it on the vertical screen. I apologize. I put it on the horizontal. I forgot to put it on the vertical. That's on me. Let me get the notes up here. All right, now you should be able to see the notes.
Yeah, if there's a world where only possible effects exist, then no, just change it. I said if there's a world, if I say if there's a possible world where only effects, I said yeah, I said if there's a world where it's possible for effects to exist, right? Then that their existence would be owed to some cause.
Okay, so let me make
That's what I
sure
said.
I'm hearing this. If there is a possible world
Well,
where effects can exist, did I hear you
yeah,
right? Then what?
then the existence must have no. I said then the existence is due to some cause.
That's why. But if there's a possible world where effects can exist, then their existence must have a cause, right?
Then the existence must have a cause.
Yeah, I
Then the
mean,
existence must have a cause. Sure,
if you have
you can put
effects,
that. I
we
just wanna
agree you need a
this say
cause.
due. Just say due, and I don't want to use another model to operate.
Say
Then
what?
the existence due to say say due. Say that then the existence is due to some cause.
So you want me to get rid of must?
Yeah, just write the things that I'm saying to you.
Okay, so if there's a possible world where effects can exist, then their existence is due to a cause. Or would we say possible cause?
No, due to a cause, right?
Well, these would both
Right.
be. Oh, never mind. Just go ahead. What's P2?
Okay, and then we can say there is a possible world where effects can exist, right? Therefore, their existence is due to some cause.
P3?
I just told you, and there's going to be the consequence of the first premise one. Is it
Is P3 a conclusion or a P3?
P? It's going to be a conclusion.
Okay, so the conclusion is what now?
The no, the conclusion is going to be the antecedent or consequent. It means their existence is due to some cause.
Okay, so then this is going to be the conclusion. Okay, so what I've got then is let's see, there is a
Do you
possible
agree so
world
far?
where effects can exist. So that would be premise number two, and then the conclusion is therefore their exists or their existence is due to some cause. We good there?
Okay, do you agree with that?
I would reword it. I would say if there's a possible world where effects can exist, then their existence is due to a cause. I would say would be due to a cause because it's only a possible world. So would is a proper word. Then premise two, it says there is a possible world where effects can exist. We would assume that's this world, right?
You're saying the
Yeah.
word. You're the one who wrote it differently to what I said. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, I'm helping you get the verbiage, like the
You're the
grammar
one
correct.
who wrote it different to what I'm telling you to write.
But the
So I
way
don't
you
know what
wrote
to talk about
it
verbiage.
was improper grammar. You wrote it as though the possible thing
You're
already
the one
did
writing it. I'm not
exist.
writing nothing.
No, I mean you
I'm
said
not
it.
writing
I
nothing.
wrote it. Okay. The
You
conclusion is
didn't write what I
therefore
said. I had to correct
their
you. You
existence
even
is due to some cause. By their existence, you
yeah,
would
yeah.
mean
Premise
the
one isn't what
you
I
would
even
mean the
said.
effects that exist in this world.
I'm not talking about in this world. It's not content specific. You
Well,
know
a
that, right?
possible world.
We're stipulating a possible world. Like, look, premise one is saying if there,
Okay.
if it is a
So
possible world
the
where FX
conclusion
can
is
exist,
is technically
then the
going to
existence,
be
I says due to some cause. And why did you
uh,
put the brackets? That isn't what I said. In the brackets isn't what I said, so I don't know why the brackets are there. There's
effects
a possible world where
in
FX can exist.
the possible world
And again, premise two is not. I'm
would
not talking about this
have
world.
a cause.
FX in the it says FX in the post. That is, bro. This is not what I'm saying,
We're talking
bro.
about possible worlds.
Just because we're talking about, oh my
This is
goodness,
wild. Listen, buddy.
bro.
Listen, this is not going to go
Are you
anywhere.
forgetting? Are you forgetting? This is
I think you,
what
I
are you
think you
meant to
should
me?
I think you
You're
should
not
find
writing
someone
down.
else.
Would you?
I think you need to go find someone else to bore. Okay, this is incredibly boring for my audience and myself, and I don't know if this is worth my time or worth any of their time. I don't think any of them want to hear this nonsense. I know I don't want to hear this nonsense. So um, maybe go talk to allegedly Ian. I know Ian would love to have this conversation with you. For the rest of us, I'm not really sure this is going to be worth anyone's time. So good luck over there. Hope it goes well for you. And with that, I think we'll just move on to the next caller, and we'll keep on moving. Hey, thanks for being here, friends. I really appreciate it. I think, and I could be wrong, I do think I've got the soundboard fixed up. There was a small little I wouldn't say call it a glitch in the soundboard, and so but we're going to bring in a guest from from the the non TikTok room here in just a second. I'm going to read a couple of super chats and we'll get it going, friends. I appreciate your patience. Good question. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says, with your new software, can you control TikTok and can you collect all the comments from all platforms? Okay, so right now, where we're at is I can collect all the comments that come in through through YouTube and through Twitch. So those are the ones I've got configured so far. I have not had time to get TikTok set up. There's TikTok's really stingy with who they allow access to their data. Like not anyone can just go and scrape data. It's not quite that easy. So I don't have TikTok added yet, but I'm going to be getting that added pretty soon so that we can scrape the TikTok data and get those comments all pulled into one thing. And because my service is a web service, it is dockable in OBS. You can dock all these things right inside of OBS, and it'll open with OBS. You don't have to open up your own thing every time. And that was the big issue prior was with like other programs like Social Stream Ninja. If you were docking your chats and OBS crashed, you'd lose all your chats, right? Because I'm saving all mine in a database on the cloud, so I never lose them. Also from Dr. Joe, good to see you, Dr. Joe says philosophy is mental masturbation. It should be done in private and involve others only with consent. I agree. To me, Dr. Joe, you know my view. I think these types of games with words are fun, but in the end, they're nonsensical. They don't get anywhere, and it's always just a game of smuggling. You know, what concept can I smuggle in by using a particular word that might have, say, a meaning that can be stretched or maneuvered a little bit? That just kind of seems to be the whole point behind this stuff. So. From Matter of Thought says the straw man of atheists calling Christians dumb because of the faith isn't true. Many Christians are very smart. Their faith is dumb. I don't know what you're talking about, Matter of Thought. That's not what a straw man, by the way, is. A straw man is when you give an argument, you attribute an argument to somebody that they didn't actually make, and then you attack that particular argument rather than the actual argument. That's what a straw man is. And I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say that Christians were dumb. I was a Christian for a long time myself. I don't think that Christians are dumb. I think these arguments are dumb. ontological arguments, tag. These are all really dumb arguments. And Nikki, thank you for the $10 super chat. Pulling a LOL, you don't understand this word, doesn't make you look smarter. It's just obvious that you are invading non-philosophy spaces so that you feel intelligent over people who don't care. Yeah, pretty much nailed it. Listen, if you study a topic and you learn a bunch of niche words, congrats. I love it for you. But you're silly if you think everybody should just know what those words mean. We don't. We also don't care. James. Jay, hey, thanks for the super chat. W666, happy 4th, brother. Well, happy early 4th to you. Gabe for Justin, rock hard for Doug, Simply Up for Sharon, and Boner for Baphomet. I love it. Boner for Baphomet's good. I got Baphomet back on the shelf now. And I got some awesome fucking Kraken bottles back there. You see those? Carnage, aka Scissor Woman, found those for my birthday on Etsy, and they're fucking awesome. I can't wait to get some more Kraken and fill them up. Julie says, hi, Justin. What's your response to people who say Jesus' father is not Yahweh, or that the New Testament God is different from the Old Testament God? Well, these would be people that are non-Trinitarians. And to be sure, I actually would agree with them. I think, well, you have to throw the Gospel of John out. But I believe that most of the Gospels understood Jesus as being divine, but not actually God. Just like some of the Caesars were deified after their death. Quite a few people were deified after their death. And they were even called sons of God or sons of the gods, but it doesn't mean that they literally came from the gods. It's kind of a weird thing. And same thing with Jesus. Jesus wasn't technically the son of anybody, right? Calling Jesus the son of Yahweh when he didn't actually give him genetic material means that it's some sort of a metaphor. He's not a real son. And Unashamed Apostate, thank you for being a member for a year, watching from the foothills of Mount Hood National Forest tonight. The mountains are proof that Doug abides. Rock hard for Doug indeed, and is unmovable. All right, try moving a mountain, see what happens. Although you could, to be fair, you can dig through mountains. There's quite a few tunnels, navigation-wise, on the sea and land that do that. And also from Smack, great to see you tonight. I hope you're doing well. Says Serpent saying, you won't die is the original intent that God is parent exaggerating the dangers of their own good for their own good, and Serpent being like a cool uncle. No, you don't get pregnant from kissing. What's up? Why you make God a liar? So Smack, I actually agree with you. There's a lot of ways to read Genesis, especially the fall. I personally, the way I read Genesis with the serpent is that God's promise was kind of a warning. He didn't actually mean in the day that you eat of it, you'll die. Just like when he shows up to Abimelech, he says, Abimelech, you're a dead man, full well knowing that he's not a dead man. And Dr. Pizza says, even though we all know what he's going to say and what pretzels he will tie himself into a knot about, we have no audio on horizontal. I apologize. You guys should be okay now. I had to make a couple of modifications, but we got it set up and we should be all right. William Rogers, thank you for the 1234. Says the Pope just excommunicated the SSPX, a traditionalist group that rejects Vatican II. Many conservative Catholics are defending SXPX despite doctrine backing up the Pope. Conservative hypocrisy. I've never even heard of this. Hold on. SXPX. What is it? Society of St. Pius X. It's a fraternity. I've never heard of this. Okay. I'll have to read up on it. Thanks for letting me know. This is entirely new to me. This is not something I've heard at all. I'll have to check into this. I do love a good, insider fight. You know what I mean? When the religious people go and start fighting with themselves. That's always kind of a good time. It's fun, actually. Anyways, I have from Randy. Give me 1 second to find it. I saw it just a second ago. Also, Kurt says, Doug, please fix Justin's audio. Don't worry, Kurt. We got it. We got it. And Randy, congratulations to every 20 of these people who just received gifted memberships from Randy Wilson. Huge fucking W, Randy. Thank you so much for sending those out, for supporting the channel. And huge W. Let's get 20 W's, at least 200 W's in the chat for Randy. If you just received a gifted membership, which I have a list of the ones who did, hey, send a message to Randy with a huge thank you. Randy is an absolute rock star. And Texas Panhandler says, when I talk to Army generals about IT topics, I don't go out of my way to use a bunch of tech jargon just to make myself seem important. An effective and smart communicator adjusts for their audience. That's the case. As an engineer, this is what we were told. Fuck, even when I was in seminary, when we had to give sermons, we were told the same shit. Don't use any of your theological school insider jargon. The audience doesn't know it. You don't sound smart. You just sound pretentious. And Game Master says, motherfucker gonna have all his meta just to present the Kalam. That kind of what it feels like. The God is supposed to be obvious, right? If all this BS word salad is necessary to justify God, he needs better marketing and representatives. True. If you have to do all this, you have to learn all this nonsense to understand God's existence, fucking he failed. Or it failed. Flanker, hey, thanks for being a member, friend. It says the possibility of cause makes the efficient cause the possible cause of necessary effect. Agree. Bro, they think they sound so intelligent. We understand what you're saying. It's just navel glazing nonsense. Gazing. It is true. And I tried to point that out. I think the argument he was attempting to make is something akin to if you have a world with possible effects, then you have a world with actual causes, and it's just nonsense. And hey, and Chandri, thank you for the super chat. Did G1 actually say you wrote it and act as if it was a legit argument? Your patience, Justin, is beyond my comprehension. You know what? I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt because he was being calm and not crashing out, but the argument was bad. And Zen, hey, thank you for the $20 super chat, friend. Happy super chat, or happy last super chat for now before we get our next guest in here. Happy 4th, my guru. Well, happy 4th to you. I Venmo'd you a Trinitarian gift. I think I'll send all future gifts in this Trinitarian way. Love you, your work, and your ever expanding family of many beings. Rock hard for Doug. Well, thank you so much, Zen. I really appreciate that. And I see I got my notifications up right now. I've got one from you, from I won't say your name out loud, from Zen. Holy shit, for a trinity of $300. Huge fucking donation. Super appreciate that. Where's my soundboard? Hold on. I did design a new soundboard to rest inside of my thing. I forgot to actually set it up before the stream. Let me actually get it set up so I can use my sounds. I need to get a cable installed. I'll worry about that later. But thank you, Zen. I really appreciate that. During the next call, I'll get my soundboard hooked into the mixer, and we'll be able to hear the sounds on the mixer. Huge W to Zen. Fucking name. All right, we've got a couple people waiting to get in. I think first in line is Papo, although I see Papo in the guest box twice. I assume that wasn't on purpose. But I mean, we'll find out. Give me just a second to bring Papo in. All right, Papo should show up on screen here in just a second, hopefully, if I've got the right link set up. Give me 1 second to go to the scene, copy the link, and then double check that it's still the same. It's not still the same. There we go. We got the new link in there. Oh, let me clear the Oh, there we go. Papo should be on the screen now. Cool. You should be able to see Papo. Next question is whether or not you can hear Papo, and we'll find out right now. Papo, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Let me turn these off.
Well, 1 second. I just want to make sure the audience can hear you. For the audience, do you hear him once or twice? I'm hearing him twice. A little echoey. Yeah, I think that's because he was in the room twice. He had logged into the room twice. So let's see if it's better now, Papo.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
Can you hear
right.
me?
I can hear you right now. Give me just a second to double check your audio setting. You got a microphone. Your output. Oh, I see the problem. The output didn't default to the right output. Let me send it to the right output. This is going to be, I guess. All right. What about now?
Okay. How are you?
That was good.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
You're doing good?
Yeah, it's still echoing for me. I think the echo is better. I think the echo is better now. Can you say something? No, the echo's gone for me. No, I don't think there's an echo anymore. Just to be clear, can y'all hear Papo right now? Papo, say something. Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
They should be able to hear you now. Unfortunately, it's just kind of echoey. I'll have to I'll have to take a look at that. That's just I'm sure it's something simple to resolve. But what's the situation, Papo? Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yes, sir. That's my nickname. My name is Felix.
Oh, Felix. Okay, give me 1 second,
I
Felix.
called the other day,
Right. Yep.
but I put my nickname today.
Sure.
Okay, so I have an argument for God's existence. Do you think God's existence is obvious,
1 second.
or it should be obvious? Can you hear me?
Give me a second. I'll be able to hear it in a second. All right, say something for me now. I'm routing your audio somewhere else. I can hear you now, and there's no. I can hear you now, and there's no echo. Oh, interesting. So I sent your audio somewhere else, and now the audience can't hear you. But give me 1 moment, and I'll make sure that they can hear you. Yeah, I know you can't hear on. I'm sorry. The audio routing coming into the mixer for some reason is setting it to extra places, and so that's this. I'll have to take a look at that. But it's not the end of the world. Let me change the microphone real quick to my soundboard. So we're just gonna do. Let's see, TikTok mix. Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm trying to implement a new soundboard here today, and it's mostly working, but not entirely working. So it's just one of those situations. All right, so we're gonna do uh, VB cable A, and we're gonna do output to VB cable A. All right, say something for us now. They should have heard you on TikTok. They should hear you on TikTok, but they didn't hear you just yet on YouTube on YouTube. But I'm going to add that audio manually real quick. Uh, it's not a problem until I figure out what's going on with the soundboard. I've got lots of virtual cables, so not that big of a deal. Now, when you talk, they should be able to hear you on YouTube. I'll combine all these sources into one later when I get it working. Pablo, say something for us.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear me
you.
now? Okay. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you
Can you hear
clearly.
me clearly?
I can hear you
Okay.
clearly. I do. 1 second. I do have to add one thing. Sorry, friends. I forgot to re-add my microphone to TikTok when I did that. You should be able to hear me and the guest now.
Okay. Should I start?
Yeah. Go ahead. So we talked yesterday, right? Or sorry, Wednesday.
2 days ago or yesterday, I don't remember. 1 day or 2 days ago.
Sure. So
Okay.
what's your argument?
Okay. Do you think God should be obvious to everybody?
I don't know what the word should means, but I would, if I was God, yes, I would make my existence obvious. I wouldn't make it like a guessing game.
Okay, I'm going to make an obvious argument for God's existence.
An obvious
Okay, the
argument.
argument goes yes, for God's existence.
Is it
Okay,
premise
the
based?
argument,
Would you like me to write down the premises?
if you like, it's really simple. It's really simple. If you like to write
Okay.
it, you can write it.
I mean, I certainly don't mind writing it down. How about P number one? Do you have P number one ready?
Okay, the universe is contingent, dependent. If the universe is dependent, it follows that a necessary being exists, and that necessary being is God. That's the argument.
Okay. So if the universe is dependent, then it requires
A non-dependent being exists.
an external non-dependent
Non-dependent being exists.
being, an agent, or just a being meaning anything that exists.
No, no, it's an agent by definition. I'll go through that later on. The
Okay.
attributes.
What's P2?
Okay, the universe is contingent, correct?
No.
No, why not?
You have to support that still. Yeah. Why would I think that the universe is contingent?
Okay, because there are contingent beings in the universe. The parts are contingent, therefore the whole is contingent.
I'm looking
What
at.
is
Give
the
me a
whole
second.
without the parts?
For everyone on TikTok, I'm looking at the video on TikTok, and because someone said the video's getting weird, and it is. It keeps bumping over for some reason. I've never seen this glitch before. There's a button that keeps popping up saying request, and I think I know why. Give me a second to pop a guest up in here. I'm going to pull Cyber up because I think that's why it's glitching. Give me a second. Usually there's a button there on the screen to tell people that they can request up, but that button is like jumping in and out. Now that I got Cyber up here, the button's not jumping in and out. What a weird glitch. Sorry about that, y'all. Cyber, can you hear me? Oh,
Can
he's
you hear
he's
me?
still he's not connecting. Anyways,
Are you
the
talking
glitch
to
is
me?
gone now, right? I'll just have to. What I'll do is I'll request up on my backup account. Not a big deal, and I'll just stay in the box. So let me do that.
You let me know.
Okay,
Okay.
the glitch should be gone. I've got my backup account in here. It'll just sit in here for the rest of the stream. So the universe is dependent needs support, and I don't know what the support is going to be. I'm familiar with this argument, and I've yet to hear good support for this, other than saying, well, the stuff inside of the universe is contingent. But just because something in a set is contingent doesn't mean that the set itself is contingent, unless you can motivate it.
Okay, the set is contingent, the whole is contingent because the part are contingent. And what is the
That's
whole without the parts?
that's not how that works.
What works?
So you can't say that because the parts are contingent, the whole must be.
Okay, but what is the whole without the parts?
Well, the whole without the parts would be a different whole.
It would still remain a whole?
The whole would be a whole no matter what parts were in it.
No, no, I mean without the parts. Without the parts, what is the whole?
The whole is always a whole.
Okay, so a whole can exist without the parts, is your point?
Anytime you have a part, it's going to be included in the whole. So
Exactly.
what you're referring to right now is called the composition fallacy. Composition fallacy is a logical fallacy, and occurs when
I
somebody
understand.
assumes or argues that because a property is true of an element, that it must also be true of the set.
Okay, if all the tiles are brown, what is the whole?
If all the tiles,
If all the tiles are brown, color brown, what is the whole?
what's the set? Define the set.
Oh, uh, the parts are brown, color brown, the parts.
Right, but
What
what
is
is
the
the
whole?
set? What's the set?
By set, you mean whole?
the set of all things, or whatever set the tiles are in.
Okay, the sum of the parts is the whole by definition.
I agree. The set of all things is just the set of all things. I agree.
Exactly. So if all the tiles are color brown, what is the whole? Brown or
No,
some other color?
the set of all things would contain tiles that are brown, but it would contain lots of other stuff too. That's why it's the set of all things.
So the whole would not be color brown,
No, unless you define the whole as just the tiles
but the whole is the sum of the parts. You agree?
of all parts or just the tiles.
Well, the tiles are the parts
Okay, of what?
of the whole.
The whole of what?
The the parts are the tile. The whole is the sum of the tiles, color brown.
There we go. That's what I was asking. The sum of the tiles or the sum of all things. Okay. So if you have a sum of tiles and all the tiles are brown, then you could say that all the tiles are brown, but the sum of all tiles is not a tile. So it wouldn't be proper to say that the sum of all tiles is in fact brown, because the sum of all tiles has different properties than being a tile.
So the whole is not equal to the parts, to the sum of the parts is your point?
Yeah, yeah. The whole is not equivalent. Like, it doesn't possess every single property that the part would have.
So the whole would not be color brown?
Well, the whole is not a tile.
The
So,
whole is the sum of the tiles, color brown.
right,
And
yeah,
if all
but
the tiles are brown, the
right, but
whole
the
must be brown.
right, but if we have a set that just includes all the tiles, that set itself is not a tile and doesn't have the properties of a tile.
Okay, but what color would be? Would it be
It
color
wouldn't
brown?
it wouldn't be a color because it doesn't have color properties.
Okay, so what it would be then? The sum of the tiles only?
No, I'm trying to say this as easy as possible. If you have a set of things, the set itself is not equivalent to those things. A set is different than a thing. So you can't just say the property of a thing inside the set would be also owned by the set itself, because sets are not the same thing as things.
Okay, so you're saying that the whole is not equal to the parts, to the sum of the
Uh,
parts.
that is the
It's
case. That's
different.
why it's called the composition fallacy.
Okay, so what is the whole without the tiles, without the
The whole
parts?
without the tiles would be the whole of whatever was left.
It would still remain a whole.
If there's something in it, yeah.
So there must be tiles, there must be parts to be a whole, correct?
No, not if there's no tiles. You just said there's no tiles.
Okay, if because it is self-evident, if the whole is the sum of the parts, the whole cannot be anything but the sum of the parts
But
by
a
definition.
sum, but a sum is different than the part. Like, the sum of 2 plus 2 is different than a 2 or a plus.
Okay, I agree. But if all the parts are contingent and the whole is the sum of the parts, the whole cannot be anything else but contingent. Are you
No, I
saying that it could
disagree.
be
We
necessary?
we just covered this. The whole,
Are
like
you,
the set of all things, doesn't take on the properties of the elements that it contains.
okay, how many contingent beings would I need to have to prove a necessary being is required for that contingent being to exist?
Well, I don't think a necessary being is required for a contingency or a contingent being.
By definition, it
Listen,
needs it.
hey Papo, I remember talking to
Yes.
you. You're a really nice guy, but I don't think this is the right platform for you. Okay, my man. I think maybe you should check out some Discord philosophy chats and try there. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much,
All right.
Justin.
All right. Cheers, buddy. Take care. I got to be honest. Now that I recognize the guy, I don't want to. I don't think we need to have this conversation. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, and it's just going to kind of like I guess we might say punching down. Is that the right word for it? But nevertheless, hey, Heathen Reason, good to see you. Thank you for the $20 super chat, friend. I drove back to Indiana from North Carolina in one shot. That's a huge fucking drive. Flying through the mountains in West Virginia at 80 miles an hour. That's pretty fucking hard to do. I've been through West Virginia mountains, and sometimes like the fastest you can go is like 50. They're so curvy. Listening to you cook Phil Bros kept me laughing. Made it 11 hours. Thanks again, sir. That is fucking crazy. But you know what? To be fair, if I was on a long road trip, I would listen to debates too. I love listening to a good debate or a podcast when I'm traveling. Thank you so much, Heathen Reason. And also from Dimitri. Hey, Dimitri, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, friend. Says, I genuinely think Felix isn't well. He calls into every possible show and doesn't retain any information from any of those calls. His memory just wipes. Cooking as always, Justin Rockhard for Doug. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you know what? I think that is the case. I'm not sure this is something that Felix should be up to. As nice as he is, I'm not sure this is his calling. So hopefully he does get, I hope he gets treated well, at least by others. But Gary, thank you so much for the super chat. W666. Hey, bud, got my dumpster fire mug. Muchas gracias. Hey, I'm glad you got it, my friend. USMC vet, disappointed in USA's 250th, but wishing you and your family a safe 4th. Rock hard for Doug and straight for Justin. Well, thank you so much, Gary. I appreciate that. Hopefully you have a great 4th and set off some fireworks for me. I live kind of in town. I don't want to set off fireworks. I don't want to, destroy any property, but set some off for me, my friend. And from Kurt says, Felix is the GOAT. He destroys every show he calls into. That might be the case, actually. Oh, poor Felix. And Bacon and Bush says, I feel like tonight's education on the subject of brown holes will be enlightening. Now, not what I was expecting, but I did read the syllabus. But I didn't read the syllabus. True. If you don't read the syllabus, you can't complain about what's coming. You know what I mean? And Kurt says, though he was starting with tag, then started to sound like Russell's paradox, Felix can't decide what he wants to cook, but he will cook. Well, Felix is trying. Felix, a.k.a. Papo, he is doing his best. It's just, it seems to be that Papo needs to, I think there's probably a better place for Papo to hang out at, but all right, I've got a number of people waiting to get in, so I'm going to grab next in line, which I believe was going to be Truth Teller and then Enlightened Quack. I'm pretty sure that's the order that they arrived. Welcome in, Truth Teller 61. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God? Truth? Truth? Hey, Truth. Can you hear me? Well, you should be able to hear me. I can hear myself playing through the speakers. I guess that means we're on to Enlightened Quack for our guest. And then after that, I'm pretty sure it's Joseph.
Hello.
Welcome in Enlightened. Are you at least 18? And do you believe in God?
Yes, I'm 23 and I'm Christian.
Cool. What do you think is the best evidence or argument for the Christian God existing?
Sure. So my argument's pretty straightforward. I think history vindicates Jesus's self-identification as the Messiah and the Son of Man figure from the Book of Daniel. The Book of Daniel, therefore, Christianity.
Cool. Yeah. You want to give support for either of those? I think I do agree that Daniel 7, the famous Son of Man passage, is referring to what we might call a Messiah. but I'm not sure I would agree
Mhm.
that Jesus is that. So, what would be like a reason to believe that he was?
Well, that's interesting. I do think there are messianic allusions for that, but my evidence comes more from Daniel chapter 9. So, Daniel chapter 9, we're told of a 7-year long tribulation, 7-year long war, and that the temple and the sanctuary and the city are destroyed in the middle of that war. And I just think that's a description of the Jewish-Roman War. And then we're also told that the Messiah is unalive. Excuse me, Messiah is unalive before that happens.
Sure. Well, I'm pretty familiar with Daniel 9. I don't actually think any of those things are accurate descriptions of what's happening in Daniel 9. Would you want to go through it with me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware of the critical scholarship, and I agree it's 2nd century, if that's where you're going.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Yeah, by all means, make a case.
Yeah, I mean, certainly you could make a case that it's 2nd century, and then from there you would just say something like, well, given that it's 2nd century, it wasn't actually written by Daniel, yada yada. But I don't know if any of that matters, because if it was written in the 2nd century, theoretically it could still be talking about a future Messiah. That whether or not Daniel wrote it, it might be irrelevant to whether or not it's true.
Right.
But I don't. 1 second. Let me change the browser real quick so it's not getting blocked. There we go. Now you should be able to see it. So I don't have a good reason to believe that Daniel 9.
Can you scroll down a little bit? It's kind of clipping. There it is.
Yeah. So do you want me to address Daniel 9 first, or would you like to address it first?
I think I can address it first. I think I can make the skeptical case, right? So this is about the Antiochian persecutions. And so the 7 weeks, the start of that is with the death of, the unalivement of Onias, the high priest.
Yeah, the third.
That's the anointed one. And then after that, you get this 7-year period from 171 to 164. And then midway through, that's with the revolt of, what's his name? One of the high priests revolted, Jason.
Oh, well, yeah, kind of. So Jason became high priest through treachery. Actually, there was a precursor to him becoming the high priest. Somebody else tried to do it before him. Anyways, there was some treachery afoot. Jason ended up getting the high priesthood, like right as Onias III was being deposed and then eventually executed. And then Jason made a covenant with the Grecians, specifically Antiochus, so that they would cut off the offerings and sacrifices, and then they would also desecrate the temple, the desolation of abomination, so on and so forth. Yeah, we would be on the same page with this particular reading.
Yeah, and so all I'm saying is that, I grant all that. I think it's true. I have a peculiar way of reading it, though. I think it simultaneously anticipates future events because of the genre. It's apocalyptic, so it's like seeing into the spiritual realm and stuff. But even if that's not the case, I think Jesus appealing to it in the Olivet Discourse means he's anticipating a recapitulation of these events, but in
so a dual fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe that dual fulfillments are a thing. I think they're nonsensical, and the reason why is because the second time it happens, the dual part of it never actually matches the what the prophecy says. It just has to be like, I don't know, vaguely familiar or vaguely similar, and then people are like, oh, it's a dual fulfillment. But I mean, to me, that's kind of silly, because theoretically this could have been Bar Kokhba. It could have been any number of fake messiahs that did a secondary fulfillment. Pretty clearly, obviously, about Antiochus. I have no good reason to believe that there's a secondary meaning that goes hundreds of years, let's say 150 years into the future, and tags onto Jesus.
Right. So I would just say this. I think there's other two possibilities. Either we're left with a pretty remarkable coincidence, or Jesus was actually onto something. And so obviously I prefer the latter explanation, because this is something that actually brought me back into Christianity when I was going through figured it out. But yeah, sure. So at the end of Daniel 9, everyone focuses on the 70 weeks. I'm not really concerned with that. I'm concerned with the last weeks. So at the end of the 70 weeks, an anointed one perishes, unalives. And then there's a 7-year war. And then the temple is destroyed in the middle of that 7-year war. And so I would say that lines up remarkably well with the First Jewish-Roman War, with the events that transpired, because First Jewish-Roman War was 7 years, and
How long
yeah,
after Jesus dying was the temple destroyed? It was about an extra
40,
40 years, yeah,
38.
70 AD. So a little bit less, but yeah. So that wouldn't have happened within the time period allotted.
Right. I do think there's a gap of 40 years
Why?
for the gospel to spread.
Why? So the prophecy doesn't say anything about a gap. It's just a 70 times 7 prophecy, 490 years straight up.
Yeah.
Why would we put a gap in there just to make Jesus fit it?
Well, I mean, Jesus himself claims that the gospel, the kingdom, must first spread
So
before the end comes.
so what?
Well, I would just
So
say,
I think one of the problems with saying, well, Jesus said something, right? The problem is that cool, he said a lot of things, right? But until you can demonstrate that he is the Messiah, Jesus just saying something is not going to cause me to go and reinterpret what's in the Old Testament. Like the Old Testament is the foundation of how you know what the Messiah is going to do and what they're going to do and who they're going to be. So you can't just change it because the guy you like wants to change it.
no, I agree. And so let me make a more modest claim. Regardless of whether this is prophecy or not, I'm just saying that Jesus is appealing to it. So he's anticipating that these events will unfold, and he's saying it'll happen within their lifetime. So the hypothesis I'm testing here is not whether Daniel is a prophecy of the First Jewish-Roman War. It's whether Jesus's specific interpretation is correct or not.
But I don't think that it would be correct. I have no reason to believe that it's correct. I have no reason to believe that it's going to happen a second time. As far as I can tell, it was scheduled to happen once. It didn't actually get completely fulfilled because, one, it was written mostly after the fact, and two, the thing that was supposed to happen after the time of writing didn't really come true, although there were some people during the Hasmonean dynasty that kind of thought that it did come true for a while until the Romans showed up.
Yeah. I would just say it's still a remarkable coincidence that the events line up as neatly as they do.
But they don't.
You mean
So
besides the 40-year gap, but
no,
the war and the
there's a bunch of stuff that
temple?
doesn't line up. No, I mean I can show you all the stuff that doesn't line up. So
Okay.
it's pretty simple, right? So you've got 70 weeks. It says 70 weeks are decreed for your people and for your holy city to finish transgression, to put an end to sin, to atone for iniquity, to bring everlasting righteousness, to seal both vision and prophet, and to anoint a most holy place. So after 7 weeks, they're like, hey, you're going to anoint the most holy place. Most scholars, and you're already aware of it, would say that this is the temple, which was completed in 516, and then there was Joshua, the first high priest, and then it says, know therefore and understand from the time that the word went out, meaning it already went out, it's in the past, to the restore and rebuild Jerusalem in the time of an anointed prince, there shall be 7 weeks. Okay, but that has nothing to do with Jesus. Jesus didn't preside over any temple being built. It has nothing to do with that timeline. It says, and then for 62 weeks, it shall be built again with streets and a moat, but in troubled times. Yep, and we would agree. That seems to be pretty accurate. After the 62 weeks, an anointed one shall be cut off. Oh, that's another anointed one, right? So we got 2 anointed ones. And most scholars would say that the first one is going to be Joshua the high priest, and the second one, or it could be Zerubbabel as well, but Joshua the high priest seems the most likely. But the second one is, as you said, Onias the third. So there's actually 2 anointed people in this particular passage, which Jesus is only one. So there's so much in here that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. And Jesus didn't wage any wars. There was no abomination of desolation during his time period. That happened much later under the Bar Kokhba revolt.
Wait, you're saying the abomination of desolation that fits better with Bar Kokhba?
Yeah, that's when they put another statue of a pagan god on what was left of the temple, essentially the Temple Mount. But during the invasion of Titus in 68 to 70, they didn't do any abomination of desolation.
Well, I would have to read Josephus' words again, but I'm pretty sure they perform sacrifices to the Roman standards, which are considered gods.
What they sacrifice?
A pig?
Titus did
Yeah.
on the destroyed temple.
No, it was before he destroyed it, before he tore it down.
In the temple,
Yeah.
according to Josephus.
I could be wrong, but I think so, yeah.
I'm not familiar with that timeline. I'm not a Josephus scholar, but I'm not familiar with that particular event from Josephus. I can look it up, though. I've got Josephus on PDF, and we can see perhaps if it shows up, right?
Yeah.
All right. I got Josephus's complete works. Let me do a word search, and we're just going to say maybe pig or hog. I'm not sure what it's going to be listed as. Sometimes you have to go back and be like, okay, what the fuck was Winston thinking in like the 1700s when he translated this? Swine, maybe? Hog doesn't show up. What about swine? Swine does show up a number of times. Okay, it might be swine that we're looking for. There we go. And yeah, obviously during the first invasion, we got swine for the Maccabean period. Let me go later. The last mention of swine. Let's see, we got chapter 1, how the city of Jerusalem was taken and the temple pillaged by Antiochus. Okay, so that's still way back when. Let's see. The last mention of swine is going to be in which book? Book number. I wish they had the headers on every page, but they don't. So this is going to be Against Appian, book 2 is the last mention of swine, or really the only mention of swine outside of the Antiochian crisis.
I must be misremembering. I'm trying to find. I'm using AI to help me find the reference.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Romans set their ensigns upon the eastern gate and did offer sacrifices to them. It's War 661. Let me see if I can find the reference, because AI does hallucinate.
I talk about AI does have a habit of hallucinating. I set up an LLM on my computer to run through my library, and holy smokes, even the LLM that I set up would hallucinate sources from my own fucking library. I'm like, that's not in there, and then sure enough, it would making up sources. It's pretty wild.
It's pretty scary, honestly. Chapter 6, and how the Romans carried their ensigns to the temple. Dang it, clicked on something. Ensigns to the temple and made joyful acclamations to Titus, the speech that Titus made to the Jews and their supplication for it. I don't know if these headers are original, but I'm just looking at a website, earlyjewishwritings.com. Josephus.
Oh, great. That's a good website, yeah.
Yes, and now the Romans, upon the flight of the seditious into the city and upon burning the holy house itself and all the buildings around it, brought their ensigns to the temple and set them over its eastern gate, where they did offer sacrifices to them, and they did make Titus imperator with great acclamations of joy. Now the soldiers had such vast quantities of spoils that they had gotten by plunder, that in Syria a pound of the weight of gold was sold for half its former value. But as for the priests, they kept to themselves on the wall of the holy house. There was that body that of the thirst was divided the Romans. And it goes on. But this is what I was remembering. They made sacrifices to their standards, to their ensigns. And I don't know too much about Roman religion, but the standards were considered the gods that brought the battle.
Yeah, I want to find the spot in Josephus where you found that. I'm just trying to figure out what word do I need to type in to find that exact quote. My translation hopefully is the same as yours. There's only like 2 translations of Josephus in English. Which word in that paragraph do you think would be most identifiable on a word search?
Ensign, ENSIGNS. Ensigns.
Okay, that does show up 17 times. All right, it says this is about Herod. Alexandria endeavored to persuade Joseph to go out and fly with them the ensigns of the Roman legion and camp. What word comes after ensigns, by the way?
To the temple.
Okay, ensigns to the temple. Okay, it looks like chapter 6. It says how the Romans carried their ensigns to the temple and made joyful acclamations to Titus, the speech that Titus made to the Jews when they made supplications for mercy, what reply they made thereto, and how that reply moved Titus's indignation against them. Okay. So does it say where in here? Let's see, do they actually do it? Because that was just the section title. I'm curious where the word ensign shows up a second time. Okay. Now the Romans were upon the flight of the seditious into the city. This is burning the holy house itself and all the buildings around it, and it brought their ensigns to the temple. And there's a note. It says from another scholar. This says is remarkable place, and Tertullian truly says it's apologetic. Wait, the entire religion. Okay, the entire religion of the Roman camp almost consisted in worshiping the ensigns, in swearing by ensigns, and preferring ensigns before all of their gods. I guess I need to look up ensign.
It's a standard. It's like a banner they bring in to battle with them. It looks like a totem pole.
Oh, like a victory banner.
Yeah.
Okay, so they went to the temple and they put up like a Roman victory banner, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't count that as an abomination, but that actually really is interesting. I didn't realize that Romans would find that to be like a valuable practice.
It was they saw it as worthy of veneration. I don't know if they were gods, incarnations of gods, representatives of God, how it worked. Because I'm not a scholar on Roman religion, but I do know they worship them to some extent. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's just my case, is that they destroyed it, which I think the text clearly says it's destroyed. And that is the abomination of desolation. I guess you did point out one flaw in the theory, the 40-year gap, but I still find that a remarkable coincidence. And it's not really hard for me to massage out the 40-year gap since I'm going off of Jesus's interpretation. The fact the Jewish-Roman War lasted 7 years and the temple was destroyed in the middle. Yeah, 70 AD. Mm-hmm. Titus. Oh, that prince. Oh, the anointed one would be Jesus. Oh, okay. Well, then I don't know which one you're referring to. That prince would be Titus. Um, no, I don't. I mean, maybe Vespasian did with some of the Jews. Yeah. Well, I know he made alliances with the surrounding neighbors around Israel. So I guess that detail doesn't fit too well. I would have to, yeah, I would have to look more into that. Online. Okay, well, it's a two-parter. So that's the first part, but also Daniel 7. I'm not talking about the Son of Man. I mean, we can talk about that too, but I'm talking about the fourth beast, which most rabbinic commentators identify as Rome. It says that there's, pardon? Okay, maybe that's an overstatement, but I know a lot of them do identify it as Rome. Hmm. I mean, yeah, and well, let me just make the case. I mean, I'm not denying any of that. I'm just that's just a sidebar. That's just a detail. But anyways, the fourth beast, it says there's 11 horns that come from it, and that the 11th horn uproots 3 before it. I see that as strongly correlating with Vespasian and the year of the 4 emperors. Do you know about the year of the 4 emperors? Yeah, I mean, you get various different counts of the emperors. Some don't even count Julius Caesar as an emperor. So, I mean, regardless, he did uproot 3 kings. At least we can call them kings, rulers, before him in the year of the 4 emperors. That would have been 69 AD, and he came out on top. And then after this, I would jump to Daniel 9 and say that he goes and he destroys the temple. Oh, Vespasian did, not Titus. Oh, no. Titus is the second emperor in the Flavian dynasty. So Titus succeeds Vespasian, but Titus is his son, biological son. Mhm. Right. Well, I would say, yeah. Uh-oh.
So I can do everything remotely rather than rely on software that's installed on my machine. But all right, right now the XLR mic is plugged in. Let me. Interesting. No audio is coming from it though. Why wouldn't my audio be coming from it? I got the microphone selected. I don't see any audio though. Oh, there we go. That's because I didn't have the thing open wide enough. Y'all can hear me now, right? Yeah, because I just got my mic going directly into it. Sorry about that. So, right, the thing, where were we? The thing that I was saying about Titus and Vespasian, I already lost it. Can you restate what you were saying?
Yeah. So the year of the four emperors, I think, strongly correlates with this passage.
Why?
Where
But so, how did the emperors get uprooted?
through like sedition and civil war and all that stuff.
By Vespasian?
No, not directly, but the old-fashioned Italian way. But Vespasian did uproot. What's his name? Otto? No, Vitellius. Okay. Vitellius was the third one.
You mean he didn't uproot anybody. He just was the next in line.
Well, let me put it this way. I mean, they all made a bid for the throne. But if we're going with the hypothesis that this is Antiochus, we're going with that, right?
That's
Antiochus, right? Antiochus didn't directly uproot anyone either, so I think this is just another case of the language being a little bit loose. But I have no issue with affirming that, yeah, Vespasian did uproot three before him, even if it was indirect.
Okay, so
because he won, he played the game.
Why this about Vespasian when weren't we talking previously about Titus?
Well, I'm saying Titus was the prince of the one who is to come, but he's not the one who is to come.
Okay, so I mean, you're saying in Daniel, because we're back at Daniel 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in Daniel 9, we're going to grab the, and this is where the English is going to, I think, mess people up. It says, after the 62 weeks, an anointed one shall be cut off and shall have nothing, and the troops of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city. I think the problem that you're going to have here is the word prince isn't doing the work that you maybe want it to. Like in English, we would say a prince is like the son of the king or the son of the emperor. But here in Daniel, the prince, like the word is probably nagid in Hebrew, just means like a ruler. It typically gets interpreted as prince, but there's actually a lot of ways you can interpret it. It's not actually a strict adherence to referring to a son, because there's actually a lot of people will get referred to as nagid, whether they're, even if they're already in power, or if they're a couple generations out of power, or if they usurp the throne. So I'm not really sure that putting prince literally in here is useful.
That's fine. Let's just say Vespasian to make it simpler. But like, I thought it was prince, as in the son of a ruler. But that's fine. I mean, Rashi calls him Titus, but yeah. I don't think it takes away from the force of the argument, since the troops are under Caesar, and Caesar was Vespasian. So I mean, yeah, it's just Vespasian. I would say that's who the 11th horn is.
Why would you think that? So, the traditional interpretation of, are we on Daniel 7 or 9 here? Or are we flipping back and forth?
We're kind of flipping back. We're saying Daniel 7 for now. Let's say Daniel 7.
Okay, so let me go to Daniel 7. You've read chapter 8, right?
Yes.
So you know
about
the final
goat?
You know the final kingdom in chapter 8, right?
Yeah, I think it's like the horn from the goat head.
It's Greece. Yeah, the shaggy goat is the kingdom of Greece, right? So the final kingdom in every chapter of Daniel appears to be Greece. So like if we're saying, look, Daniel 7 sounds a lot like Jesus' time period, cool, okay, but the reality is it's not. It's about Greece. It tells you it's about Greece.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. I would say in the original context, it's about Greece, but
I would
say
you're still doing secondary fulfillment.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so you're saying in a secondary fulfillment way, you think that you would apply this to Jesus' time period. I don't know why we would do that.
Well, so, the hypothesis I'm testing is, yeah.
Well, here our priors are going to be the problem here, right? So you're looking at Daniel and you're saying, look, there's some interesting things happening in Daniel that sound familiar to what happened during Jesus' time period. That must mean there's a secondary fulfillment. your prior is that there are secondary fulfillments, and your other prior is that Jesus is already the Messiah somehow, which is why you could do this kind of a thing. My priors is that Daniel in no prophecy has a secondary fulfillment, and that in order for this to be about Jesus, we would probably want, because it's so loose of an illusion, we would want something stronger demonstrating that he was the Messiah before we looked at like one of these prophecies and said, well, you know, if you squint hard enough and look at some of the things that match up, it must be a secondary fulfillment. My understanding of the Messiah from reading the Hebrew Bible is that Jesus didn't do anything, not a single thing that the Messiah was supposed to do. So while it is intriguing that there's some stuff maybe in Daniel that sounds reminiscent of Jesus' lifetime, I'm not inclined to think that this is a secondary fulfillment based in Jesus, given that he didn't do literally anything the Messiah was supposed to do. To me, at best, it would be a coincidence and wishful thinking.
Yeah, I can appreciate that perspective, but I can make the argument without appealing to any priors, just by saying, well, let's just test what Jesus said, right? So if we're going with the hypothesis that Jesus said that these things would be fulfilled in his generation, we can just test that.
But we don't know what Jesus said. This is the other problem, right? So that's the interesting thing about prophecies, right? We know that the prophecies in the Hebrew Bible were written before Jesus. That's why it's so easy to test them, right? The prophecies that are attributed to Jesus, we have no evidence that those were uttered by Jesus. And specifically, we know for a fact that they were written down after Jesus, right? So it's really easy to write prophecy and post if you're writing 30, 40 years later.
Right. So do you think the Olivet Discourse is original to the words of Jesus himself?
I don't really know if the Olivet Discourse is, but I think probably part of it, let's say, is like a remnant, a memory of some stuff that Jesus would say for a couple reasons. But I think the most powerful reason is because it included a couple promises that never came true, which if that was the case, that Jesus said these things and they knew that it didn't come true, seems reluctant. To me, they would be reluctant to include it unless they thought that, well, it didn't happen yet, but it will happen soon, which is another possibility. But my understanding of Jesus during the Olivet Discourse is that he had predicted that his second coming was going to be within a generation of the events that were currently taking place, which is why he repeats it in Matthew 10:23 and Matthew 16:27-28. It seems like he was saying that the second coming, his return, was going to happen within lifetime of those people back then, and then it didn't happen, which is what you would expect if a book, say, was written after the destruction of the temple, but still within the lifetime of most of those people being alive.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I think Jesus strongly implies that he's going to come back soon, but he also leaves open the possibility of a delay, and I think a way to resolve that tension is to say that expect an imminent return, but be prepared if it takes longer. Anyways, that's a sidebar. Point is, like, the reason I accept Jesus's words in that passage as authentic is, yeah, part of the reason is what you said, right? Because he implies an imminent return, which is something I guess later writings sort of downplay, Christian writings downplay, but also it's because Paul makes an allusion to the Olivet Discourse in his letters, and we know those predate the Gospels. So, and also the Son of Man imagery, I mean, it's all over the Gospels. I think Jesus, the historical Jesus, read Daniel and read himself into it.
No, I agree. I think the historical Jesus did. I agree. I think the historical Jesus and a lot of the people at Qumran thought that Jesus was going to be the Son of Man, or is the Son of Man. I just think that it was a failure. I don't think he was the Son of Man. The Son of Man was supposed to be like a real, like actual ruler who's going to have like a physical dominion and whatnot.
All right. I hear you. I guess I just wanted to make the argument because I've never heard anyone else make it before, so hopefully that was interesting. Nice break from tag arguments and Philbro stuff, but yeah.
I do agree. I would much rather do this than tag 100 times. Tags is pretty bad. So, I mean, I appreciate you bringing up the argument. Daniel 9 is always a fun passage to run through. So we appreciate you coming in, and
Mhm.
obviously coming in and having I would say, a pleasant disposition. You know, we get a lot of people that come up here just kind of crash out, but you seem to be actually interested in a real conversation. So huge W.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks, man. Take
All
care.
right, you too.
Happy
Cheers.
4th.
Hey, happy 4th to you. Well, that was nice. Someone who came up and didn't just immediately crash out. Which, speaking of that, Matthew's back. Matthew's going to crash out for sure. If I know anything about Matthew, Guitar, as he used to be called, but Matthew, the artist formerly known as Guitar, who runs the column every single time they get up here, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some crash outs. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. All right, friends, I'm going to read a couple super chats here, and then we're going to get our next guest loaded up. From Dusk Frame, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Haven't been able to catch a live for a while, but it's logically, ontologically necessary that in all possible worlds, I love watching Justin. Rock hard for Doug. Well, thank you, Dusk. And that is a possible world that I'd like to be a part of. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And also from Bugit. Good to see you, Bugit. Why is the people writing the New Testament had access to the Old Testament so they could make the story they're writing match what was already written? Not an option. It actually is an option. I try not to use that one just because it opens the door to a longer conversation. And I don't know if it's necessary to defeat the Daniel stuff. But to your point, Bugit, yes. There's a very, very fair criticism. If you have a prophecy in the Old Testament, it's easy to say, well, Jesus fulfilled it based on this writing when we don't know that he actually did do it. It's just a guy writing after the fact. Could be just literally making up a story saying that Jesus did it, right? And Alex, good to see you. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Huge, huge W. Baffled. I never saw this. God's initial creation collapsed, angels and humans. He broke promises and failed his chosen. That's accurate. Even granted all salvation premises, why trust the promise of heaven when his actions demonstrate he's inept and trustworthy? That's the case. God is obviously inept. He couldn't control the watchers. He had to flood the entire world. His people, he couldn't get his people to act straight at all, even though he should have known that was going to be the case. This God seems like a chump and a failure. I don't ever, even if it was real, I wouldn't trust it. And from the Duncan Idaho Gula says, sorry I am late. Felt like Saturday. Well, I get it. Loved M's song by Gretchen. It was an amazing song, by the way. She said she didn't know why you didn't play your song. I think you are too shy, or here is some money to get over yourself. K for Justin and Rock Hard for Doug. No, it just seems weird. Like playing a song like about me to the audience. It's like self-aggrandizement. It just seems like, I don't know, kind of a douchey thing to do. So I didn't do it, you know. Maureen, but go to Gretchen's page and listen to it, friends. Maureen says, can the commandment, you shall have no other gods before me, be interpreted as God admitting there are other gods? Yeah, for sure. And in the same book, in Exodus 12:12, he says he's bringing judgment on the gods of Egypt because he believes there's other gods. Duncan Idaho Ghoul also says, have you discussed the Pope's recent schism? Do you know what is up with Pius V sect? And did you play Gretchen's song about you already? I didn't play it yet. I played the M song. But no, I just learned about the schism today. I've got it pulled up in a tab. It looks like it's a pretty small sect. Let me see if there is a full count. There's about almost 1,500 members. So it doesn't appear to me to be a giant schism, but a schism nonetheless. So it's worth talking about. And Atlas, thank you for the $10 super chat. Hope you're doing well. You probably already know this by now. Felix was not echoing. Oh, he calls into shows and says, can you hear me, over and over and over again, and then tries to frustrate the host. I didn't know that was the case, actually. I appreciate that update, Atlas. I've not seen Felix on other channels yet. I've only seen Felix here. I've talked to him twice now, so I'm not really sure what goes on at the other channels. That's something I'm not familiar with. So let's bring in Joseph from our other queue, and we will keep the live stream rolling. 1 second. All right, one moment. All right. 1 second. We should be good. I got to refresh something real quick. Making updates to. There we go. It did save it. There we go. Making updates to something like while you're live is crazy. The mixer should be working now. You should hear me twice on YouTube now. There you go. So if I disable the direct microphone, you should only hear me once now. The mixer was just getting weird. Nevertheless, everyone should be able to hear me. I'm going to grab Joseph from the queue, and hopefully we'll get some decent conversation. Joseph, are you at least 18, and do you believe in God? Oh, well, we're just doing debates, my man. All right, so we're going to move on from that, and I guess we're going to bring in Matthew next. I don't know why people come up to talk to me if, in fact, they're an atheist. Friends, I have on the screen, prove me wrong. I didn't think that I needed to add to the screen something along the lines of only call in if you're a believer, but seems like that might be the route we're going to go here eventually. So I, to repeat it again, if you are a believer, we'd love to talk to you. If you're not a believer, hey, we're just talking to believers. So please respect the rules of the boundary. You had no guest audio on there? Oh, well, the reason why I had no guest audio on there is probably because I need to refresh this browser too. And because he didn't have an audio output selected. Cool. I can select an audio output for them though. Okay, fair enough. It's neither here nor there. We do have Matthew waiting to get in. Man, the TikTok stream is laggy. I might decrease the TikTok stream next time to like 720p. TikTok Studio just cannot keep up for some reason. I don't know why. All right, let's get Matthew in. Well, welcome back, Matthew.
Hello.
Yep, Matthew.
I'm so welcome to be here.
Well, we know you're already over 18. We know you're a Christian, so we don't got to ask you that. So I guess the question I have for you is, what argument do you have for us today? And please don't make it the Kalam for the 5th time.
All right. So yeah, I just it's not going to be the Kalam. So yeah, we have empirically verified, retestable, testable, measurable, empirical evidence that's also mathematically proven that the universe began.
Sure. What's that?
Yeah, so it's just going to be Hubble's law. Cosmic microwave background is direct fossil evidence that we expanded from a hot dense state. And Hubble's law shows us that redshift, galaxies are moving apart. So we know that the universe is expanding empirically. We know that we expanded from a hot dense state empirically.
What does this do for you? Yeah, we agree that the observable universe is
so we
expanding.
have empirical.
What now?
The observable universe? So we don't empirically observe the expansion?
We can't observe anything outside of our range of observation. That's why it's called the observable universe.
Did we expand from a hot dense state?
The observable portion of the universe obviously did.
Oh, okay, so there's just like a portion of the universe that expanded from a hot dense state, but there's another portion that didn't?
Well, what it's saying is what we know exists, like the stuff that we can observe, that stuff appears to have expanded from a smaller, denser thing. But we have no idea what is outside of our range of observation, which means
it's been expanding ever since.
Making claims about what is outside our range of observation obviously you wouldn't be able to support it.
There is no. This is direct observation. We directly observe where the limit is. There's no
limit
before the hot dense state. There's no before the hot dense state.
And how do you know that?
Because we empirically observe the expansion, and we know that we expanded from a hot dense state.
We agree, yes, that there is an expansion. Why would we believe there was
Yeah, we know
nothing
where the
prior
limit's
to
at.
that?
I don't believe in nothing.
Well, neither do I. So why would we believe that there was something prior to the expansion?
Logically prior?
Anything prior to the expansion, why would we believe that there was nothing?
Okay, let me explain. So yeah, the reason we know is because this evidence I just now gave you is empirical evidence that the universe is expanding on average.
But no, that's not what that means.
Dr. Blitz said that on the live stream, so I mean.
No, he didn't. You misunderstood him.
I got the clip. Yeah, he did. Go to the clip. Go to the clip. Then it's on his page right now.
You're misunderstanding the hypothesis.
It's on his page right now.
That you're trying to use. And so when you say expanding on average,
this isn't a hypothesis.
Matthew, do you want me to mute you, or do you want to let me speak? Okay, it's up to you how much time you want to spend.
What do you think on average means? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So on average means from the beginning of time, right? From the beginning of time, forever, right? The universe has been expanding. First of all, that's a circular argument. If your goal is to prove that the universe started when the expansion started, then your first premise can't be it started then. That's the whole thing. If it was expanding on average for all of time, it would mean that your conclusion is true. So you can't prove your conclusion being true with the first premise, assuming that your conclusion is true. So by expanding on average, first of all, you're assuming that it had a starting point rather than a static state for a period, or rather than a period of contraction or anything else. Also, it doesn't say anything about the observable universe versus the non-observable universe. We don't know if there's more beyond our observation out there, our expanding pocket, right? What we call the universe could literally just be an expanding pocket inside of a universe that's infinitely large. We don't know. So that's why the GBV doesn't do anything.
This is where the third piece of evidence comes in. If you're going to try to argue an infinite regress of cycles, then you're going to have to explain away Richard Tolman's entropy equation from 1931, because any universe that has been oscillating universes cannot be infinite to the past. They accumulate entropy.
Why not?
There's nothing beyond the universe, right? There's nothing beyond the universe. Yeah, delta S is greater than or equal to 0.
We don't know if the universe is finite or infinite in terms of size and space.
There's nothing beyond the universe, so it's isolated by definition. You already conceded that.
We don't know that. So
you already conceded that in my video.
When we talk about the universe is a word just meaning everything that exists. What we don't know is if the universe goes on forever or if the universe has some kind of a boundary.
Okay, yeah, we do know empirically. This is Dr. Blitz. Everybody go on his channel right now. His last video, when he asked physicist, he literally said this, responded to my comment, said that we empirically verify that the universe is expanding on average, and we know that the Big Bang is the limit because we're empirically observing.
That's not related to what I'm saying, and he didn't say that. So
well, yeah, I'm telling you,
I'm talking about a physical
any universe
boundary,
that's been expanding on average,
not a time boundary.
Any universe.
If the universe doesn't have a physical boundary, that means it's possible that our expansion, the area of our universe that's expanding, is just actually a pocket in a much larger existing universe.
But past-directed geodesics are past and complete. That's mathematically proven.
You don't even know what a geodesic is, and that has nothing to do with
what
what
we're talking about. Yeah, it's a free-falling particle follows through space-time. Since the last time we talked, I learned a lot.
You didn't learn anything. You memorized a couple words that you don't understand, and now you're going to get cooked using different words.
No. Well, coming from the guy that said we don't know if the universe is an isolated system, W. Blunder.
We don't.
Is there anything physical beyond it?
Is
there anything physical beyond the universe?
If the universe goes on forever, there's no such thing as beyond the universe.
Is there anything physical beyond the universe? Or is everything just the universe?
These are just basic definitions. So if the universe doesn't have a boundary, then outside of the universe is a meaningless word.
Is there anything beyond the universe?
Again, we don't know. If the universe goes on infinitely, then there's no beyond. It's a dumb question.
Isn't the universe defined as the totality of space-time physical reality? So if there is anything physical, wouldn't it just be a part of space?
Is everything
Wouldn't it
that
just be
exists.
the universe?
The universe
Yeah,
is
exactly.
everything that
So it would
exists.
just be the universe,
So
right? So there is nothing beyond
the
the
question
universe.
is, what does it mean to be outside of the universe? That's what you said.
Transcendent.
I don't believe there is anything transcendent.
Exactly. So it's isolated.
That's not what isolated means.
Isolated means that there's no external physical environment that exchanges energy or matter with. Does the universe do that?
So you're struggling here. So when we talk about
Does the universe
whether or not
do
the
that?
universe is isolated, we're talking about whether or not there's a finite boundary on the universe.
No.
What I'm saying is I don't have a good reason to believe that the universe in size and scope is finite.
Yeah, the second law of thermodynamics is a pretty good reason to believe that.
No, it's not. Second law of thermodynamics says nothing about whether or not the universe has a boundary.
It says that in an isolated system, entropy increases overall, and as entropy increases,
It doesn't
exergy
actually say
decreases.
that. It increases until it hits equilibrium, and then it stops increasing. It just says that it can't decrease in an isolated system.
No,
And again, we don't know
exactly.
if the universe itself
Yeah.
has a boundary, so we don't know if it's technically an isolated system. And also, just
It
because
doesn't need a boundary to
just
be
because
isolated.
this rule applies, say on our scale on Earth, doesn't actually mean that it applies on the universal scale, because we have gravity. Because gravity exists,
Gravity doesn't.
and gravity
creates
causes
structure,
things
but
to
it works within the
move,
second
then
law.
what that means
doesn't
is that
reverse
there's
the second
always
law.
going to be energy. Gravity literally creates energy.
An eternal energy model contradicts the second law. That's the first law.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, energy cannot be eternal into the past.
Why not? In fact, that's literally the quantum.
What is exergy?
The quantum eternity theorem literally says that if there's anything other than
Eternal inflation?
negative
Emergent universe? Emergent universe already got proven wrong.
Quantum
It
eternity
faces
theorem.
quantum collapse.
You dummy. I don't know why you forced me to mute you. So the quantum eternity theorem posits that if there's a non-zero amount of energy in the universe must have been eternal, because energy can neither be created nor destroyed. I don't know if I agree with that, but according to your position, you would agree with that. So that's a problem for you. Also, again, if you have two static bodies in space and they're just out there hanging around, they're going to start moving. I'm sorry, I don't know if you know this, but when
Static
things
means
move,
unchanging, so that's actually false. That's a contradiction.
When things move, it means that they have energy.
Static means unchanging.
That's the definition of energy. And static doesn't always mean unchanging. It just means in this case that they're not moving. A static object in space, obviously I'm referring to something that doesn't move. It's not moving. But if you put two stationary, is that better? Two stationary objects in space, and just, you're not touching them, there's no forces on them, they will eventually just go towards each other. That's what gravity does. And when things move, they have energy. That energy is obviously being imparted by gravity. Gravity and space-time are obviously a field, which means there's nothing you can do about that. You're going to have energy being placed on material objects no matter what you do.
So yeah, I don't even think that you even know what energy of a photon is, first of all. But anyways,
the energy of a photon is it's talking about the amplitude of the wave and or the position and velocity of the movement. That's what energy is. If you look up like an actual physics textbook, it's going to tell
what's the equation for that?
Energy is the quantitative
Can you demonstrate
property.
That?
Energy is the
These
quantitative
are words,
property. I'm just going to read it. Energy is the quantitative property of things that do exist.
Prove it. What's the equation?
Things that it's not an equation, it's a definition, right? So you can just look it up. You can just look it up like in physics. So we'd say energy.
It's E equals hc over lambda. You know what that means?
What any of that means, and it's not relevant, because the question right now is what is energy, which is basic, right? So the problem you're going to have is that you need to first understand what energy is. So I'm going to give you a proper definition.
So energy cannot be created or destroyed within a closed system or an isolated. It doesn't tell you whether or not.
Okay, so the official definition of energy, it says it's the quantitative property that is transferred to a body or a physical system, recognizable in the capacity to do work and in the form of heat and light.
What does
Energy
exergy mean?
Energy is conserved. Is a conserved. I'm not even muting you now. You're just muting yourself. Energy is a conserved quantity, and the law of conservation of energy states that energy can be converted in form but not created or destroyed, so on and so forth. So it's a quantitative property. Energy itself is not a thing that has like existence in the way that you want it to have existence.
Does it tell you where energy came from?
Well, I don't think it comes from anywhere if it's always existing.
Tell you
if
whether
it
or not
can't
that
be
system had a
created
beginning?
or destroyed, then it would
Within a
logical to
system.
conclude that it didn't come from anywhere.
It cannot be created or destroyed within a system. It doesn't tell you whether or not that system itself had a beginning or not.
It didn't say in a system.
Yeah, it says energy is conserved within a system. That's really what you just said.
But conserved is that's good enough, conserved, but that's not in my definition.
Conserved in what? It has to be conserved somewhere. How do we derive the first law? How do we derive it?
The first law of what? Thermodynamics?
Yeah.
Do you even know what it is?
Yeah. Conservation of energy.
There you go. Oh, and do you know how we determine that?
Yeah. The universe is isolated.
Observation and
There's
mathematics.
nothing beyond it.
And it doesn't say anything about whether or not the universe is isolated.
You already conceded there's nothing beyond it, so by definition, yes, it is.
Well, again, there is no beyond if, in fact, it's infinitely large.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's still a system, isn't it? So it's isolated.
Nope, that's not what isolated means.
It's an infinitely isolated system, and that's exactly why thermodynamics contradicts
not a thing. Infinitely isolated is not a thing.
It's an infinite system that's isolated.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
There's nothing beyond it.
So. There's no such thing as beyond an infinite thing.
Exactly, so it's isolated.
So that means it's not isolated, it goes on forever.
Come on, man. What is this?
Sounds like you're just like trying to play word games.
No, there's nothing beyond the universe. This isn't a word game.
There's no such thing as beyond the universe.
Exactly, so it's isolated.
Isolated doesn't mean what you want it to mean.
No, it means there's nothing external.
Isolated means that something is detached, it has a boundary, it has like a marker of a starting and a stop. The universe, if it's infinite, doesn't have any of that. So it means it wouldn't be considered isolated. To be isolated, it has to be isolated from something else. That's what isolation means.
Isolated does not always presuppose something external.
Yeah, that's what isolation means.
We're telling you that there's nothing external. Isolated does not presuppose an external environment. It's the actual opposite.
Isolated literally means that it's a container, or it's a grouping of something independent of something else, even if the something else, say, is empty void.
Nothing.
But again, if the universe, it goes on forever, there's no such thing as an empty void. It's just an infinite universe, so the word isolated isn't really applicable.
Actually, no, that's wrong. So the universe could still be infinite into the past and infinitely cycling, but that doesn't change the fact that there's nothing beyond it.
I didn't say the past.
You said it's infinite.
I said infinite in size 100 times. I'm not talking
infinite
about having a past
space
infinity.
And time is infinite?
I'm saying if space is infinite in space and time, meaning
we know space isn't
the
infinite.
Physical realm, then what that means is that there's no such thing as the universe being an isolated system.
This is not what you want to say, that space is infinite. What you want to say is that space is infinitely contracting and expanding, because space is not infinite. We know this.
That's not my argument.
Space itself is expanding currently. It's not infinite.
We don't know that.
We do. It's empirical. I already told you that.
No, we don't. No,
Dr. Blitz admitted it. Yep.
No, he didn't. Nope.
Cope.
Nope.
Yep. Go on the stream then. Go ahead. Go. Right now. It's 1 minute into the video. Go ahead.
Buddy,
1 minute into the video.
You're confusing the universe with the observable universe. That's a huge
There is
problem.
no such thing outside of our observable universe. I'm not.
How do you know that?
How
could you possibly know?
I'm using
that
the observable universe.
How could you possibly know that outside of our observability is nothing?
Observational cosmology shows us the limit. I'm not talking about outside of observational cosmology.
The limit of what?
We get to the Big Bang.
No, I'm not talking about history. Are you dumb? I'm talking about size.
I'm telling you. Yeah, the size is not infinite.
Then how do you know that?
Because the universe is expanding.
No, our section of the universe is expanding. We don't know
There is
anything
no other section.
outside of our range
Prove
of
it. Prove there's another
outside
section.
of our range of ability to see. So again,
So are
this
you
is the
saying we
problem
didn't
you
expand
have.
from a hot dense state?
Your argument is assuming that what we can observe is 100% of the universe. We don't know that.
So okay, so you're denying redshift and cosmic microwave background and the standard model in cosmology?
No, I'm saying you fundamentally don't understand what you're saying. I agree that the area that we're in, this part of the universe, is obviously expanding. What I'm saying is we don't know what exists outside of our
What happens
range
when you
of
mathematically trace it backwards?
observation. Well, you don't know how to do math, and that's not what we're talking about.
Oh, I don't know how to do math.
So we all know
What does
that you can.
what does
you
delta
can
mean? How do we
you can
calculate delta?
reverse. Delta is a difference. You can reverse the universe back in time. You can reverse the universe back in time and you'll get to a hot dense state. We agree. That says nothing about what was before the hot dense state. And again, I'm not talking about infinite time. I haven't been talking about
No,
infinite
before
time the
the hot dense
entire
state.
time.
There's no before.
I haven't been talking about infinite time. The entire conversation has really nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I haven't mentioned it once.
Okay, so time's finite then, right?
So no. So what I'm saying is, if in fact the universe is infinitely large, what that means is that what we can observe, the observable universe, could have something beyond it. And what's beyond it might not actually be expanding. We could be in a pocket of expansion. Just like, for example, there are star explosions, right? When a star explodes, that's an expansion event inside of our existing universe that we can observe. What I'm saying is, it is possible that our expanding section of the universe, what we can observe, is part of a larger universe that we can't observe, and we don't know which one is going to be the case, because obviously we're limited by our power of observation or our lack of power of observation, which means you can't make definitive statements about whether or not there is a beyond the observable universe. You have to talk about possibilities and probabilities.
So yeah, gravity creates local small structures, but when you look at the largest scales, galaxies aren't. What's so funny? Galaxies aren't expanding. The solar system isn't expanding. You're not expanding. But when you look at the largest scales, space itself is expanding uniformly, and we know this empirically. So when we mathematically trace the expansion backward using our empirical evidence,
you didn't listen to a word I said.
The observable universe
this is why no one actually likes talking to you, Matthew. You don't listen to anything
universe stops
anyone
at the
says.
Big Bang. The observable universe stops at the Big Bang.
We're not talking about the observable
beyond
universe.
our observable universe.
We're not talking about the observable universe. We're talking about the overall universe.
Okay, so is there anything beyond the observable universe?
That's what I'm saying. Is you're trying to make an argument that there's nothing beyond our observable universe, and I'm saying you don't know that to be the case.
Where's the evidence?
Your argument rests on the universe.
Okay, give me a reason to believe that then.
Your argument, the argument you gave, which is I'm talking about right now, depends on the universe not being infinite in the size, not the past. Your argument depends on the universe having some kind of a physical type of boundary, right? It doesn't go on forever, right? But you can't support that, but unless you can give me some evidence that would suggest that outside of our range of observation there's nothing, then you're just wasting your time here. He's talking on mute the whole time. He has no idea. He muted himself. I didn't even mute him.
Oh, I'm muted.
He's so used to finding the mute button, he mutes himself now.
Let me tell you why I bring up expansion, cosmic microwave background, Hubble's law. So cosmic microwave background is the afterglow of the Big Bang. It's direct fossil evidence that the universe was once smaller, hotter, and denser.
Yeah.
And has been expanding ever since.
The observable universe.
Oh yeah. Wait, what's beyond the observable universe?
I keep telling you, you have no way of making definitive statements about the beyond
what was the hot
the observable
state?
universe, because you don't have any way to know beyond our region of observability.
Wait, what is the Big Bang?
The Big Bang is a cosmic event where the part of the universe that we can observe expanded.
The part of the universe?
that we can observe.
You're presupposing that this isn't all that there is. Prove
I'm
it.
not presupposing it. What I'm saying
Yeah,
is
you
that
are.
we can only observe a portion. It's just
Empirically?
it's just definitively true. Yeah, our powers of observation.
What are we observing, though? What
our
are we
powers of
observing?
observation are not infinite.
What are we observing?
The universe,
Expanding?
the observable universe is expanding, not the entire universe that we know of.
From where?
From a central point. Are you confused?
Okay, and this
did you
central
forget-
point. Was there
did you
anything?
forget-
Was there anything?
Did you forget your
Was there
talking
anything?
points about the
Is
Big
that the
Bang?
beginning of
or-
space itself expanding? Is that the beginning of space itself expanding? Yes or no?
It's the beginning of a current expansion event, is what I would say.
Of what?
Of the
Our
observable
observable universe?
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, but wait, is space
that's what,
itself
like,
expanding from the
literally-
Big Bang? Yes or
But
no?
literally every scientist agrees with is that the Big Bang happened and that our observability, the area that we can see,
Yeah.
is currently expanding, and we can fucking measure the rate of expansion too.
Yeah, we expanded from a hot dense state, correct?
Our observable universe did, yeah.
Yeah, space itself started to expand at the hot dense state. So what was prior to the hot dense state? Another expansion?
I don't know that to be the case, but yes, my belief and
You don't
science
want to
will
say that
support
space
this,
is infinite.
is
You don't
that
wanna say
prior, yeah, I do.
That doesn't
Prior
follow.
to the expansion, there's
That doesn't
no
follow.
reason to believe. Yeah, it does. There's no reason to believe
No, it
that there was
doesn't.
nothing. Give me an argument
If space,
for there
if
being
space
nothing.
isn't, if space is infinite, if space was infinite, like how you're trying to say, then there would never have been a hot dense state to begin with,
Why?
because space is infinite. There's no starting
what?
point for infinity.
I'm not talking about a starting point for infinity. Are
That's
you?
not-
Are
is
you
that
out
an
of your
argument?
mind? Do you know what space means?
You just not conceded to one.
I didn't. Space
So-
is referring to a, we'll call
You
it
just
a
not conceded to the
location.
starting point.
It's a relational location. So if space is infinite, then what that means is that our Big Bang, it could just be a something happening locally within the overall universe. That's what it would mean.
That's false. That's false. So
not
space expands inside of space. Demonstrate that.
No, I'm not
Oh,
saying
so
that
now you're
space
now you're
expands
going to
inside of
space is expanding in space.
Nope, I didn't say that at all.
Okay, so what's the argument then?
So again, space.
What are you saying
is
then? I'm
ju-
confused.
You are very confused, I know. Space is like something that pervades the entire universe, even if our observable universe is small.
Okay. Wait, so is space itself infinite or is it infinitely expanding? Which one is it?
Again, it could be infinitely large in size, which means we are a pocket inside of a much larger universe that space would
Is there a
pervade
beginning
all of.
to time?
I have no
Is there a
reason to believe
beginning
that.
to
No,
time?
I have no reason to believe that.
Okay, well, let me just ask you one real quick question, just to make sure that, like, what we're doing here is. So, can you tell me what allows Sn plus is greater than Sn? What allows that?
I have no fucking idea.
What allows Sn? What allows Sn approaching infinity as n approaches infinity? What allows that?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Listen, Matt, I'm glad that you went on the internet and you learned a couple formulas that you can wave around and pretend like you're smart and you can do math and understand them. But this is super fucking cringe, man. Just walking around asking people if they know niche formulas that you looked up. I mean, do you know how to calculate root mean square? Probably not. But fucking guess what? I learned to do it when I was in school. It's a meaningless endeavor. You're just wasting your time. You're looking like a fool. And, it's kind of getting boring. You keep doing the same argument over and over again. Every time you come, you just talk about the beginning of the universe. And you think that maybe the next time I'll get it, but you don't get it. You never actually listen. You don't even know the rebuttals. So
I'm listening.
I'm going to move on to an adult. Okay. Let me know when you're testy to send and you can come on back. It's crazy that these 12-year-old kids out here think that they're just going to run around and cook people when they don't even understand the words that they're using. Okay. I'm going to grab a couple of super chats, friends, and then we're going to get our next guest pulled in here. Hey, from Dre from Costa Rica says, that caller was insufferable, bro. have you watched any World Cup matches? Well, that is true, but also no. I know people are gonna be mad. I'll apologize ahead of time. I don't fucking like soccer at all. To me, it's like boring as shit. It's like watching ping pong. It's I get it. If you grew up playing soccer, you probably think it's a lot of fun. I didn't. I think it's super boring and uninteresting. That's on me. If you like soccer, I love it for you. Keiko says, "Hi, Justin. Next time the Philbros speak happens, start speaking Hebrew. Wait, next time the Philbros speak happens. I mean, they use the niche jargon. Start speaking Hebrew and see how they respond. That's a good idea. Just start using another language, and then when they don't know the language, be like, I'm sorry, you're dumb if you don't know it. You should know this already. That's actually a good idea." And Ben says, had a very bad day, but coming home and tuning into this live was immediately calming for whatever reason. Son, thanks, Justin. Go Logic. Well, fuck, Ben. I'm happy that we can bring a little bit of relief to you. Hopefully, you'll find some entertainment here, or at least you get to witness a good crash out or two. You know what I mean? And TJN says, I don't want to start any blasphemous rumors, but I think that God has a sixth sense of humor, and when I die, expect to find him laughing. Well, I think that could be quite likely if he exists, or he's maniacal and awful and doesn't deserve our respect. T Pineapple says, if the universe is infinite, there is by definition an infinite amount of energy. If you decrease infinite energy, you still have infinite energy. Yeah, you nailed it. If the universe goes on infinitely, which we don't know, then that means there's an infinite amount of energy. Although, if space-time goes on infinitely, that means you're going to have infinite energy as well, because the space-time field is going to impart energy on whatever body is around it. So I don't have a good reason to believe, as far as I can tell, that space-time, the space-time field, is like somehow only existing inside of like where matter would exist. As far as I can tell, it seems to pervade all things. Let me see. Okay. I got a message from Blitz during that. Let me see what he says. By the way, for the future, if anyone brings up BGV theorem, the thing that Matt brings up, yeah, because he's an idiot, I just asked him to explain why this paper says the BGV theorem is too vague and has counterexamples. I should. Well, to me, I think you and I were talking about this. To me, the BVG fails right out of the gate because it's begging the question, right? If the thing you're trying to prove is that the universe doesn't go infinitely in the past, then you can't start out with if the universe has been expanding on average, because what that means is that it had a finite past, not an infinite past. So your first conclusion, your first premise is your conclusion. It's just logically invalid from the very fucking start. And Green, thank you so much for the $20 super chat, friend, says the observable universe is a sphere with Earth at the center. There's almost certainly something beyond that, as an Earth-centric existence of everything has no logical justification. Can't say much about that beyond, though. I think what you're saying is that the Earth is the center of the universe, and I hope that's not what you're saying, because that can't, obviously, that's ludicrous. It feels like the center of our universe because everything around us in all directions is expanding. But to say that it is the center of the universe, I think would be deeply problematic. Maybe I'm misunderstanding you, though. Maybe you can help clear that up. You know what I mean? And from C's, Saul says, I saw a short from Biblical Apologetics claiming, oh, you mean Courtney is what you're probably referring to. I think that's her handle that she goes by, Biblical Apologetics, claiming she cooked you in a debate. I can't imagine that is the case. LOL, a penny for your take. Yeah, well, no, she didn't cook me. She's out of her mind, is what she is. The problem that she had is she came in wanting to talk nonsense about Isaiah 7. And y'all know already, Isaiah 7 is not about Jesus, not about a virgin, not about any of that nonsense. And she stayed, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half. I didn't really get anywhere. And then eventually she said she had to leave and take care of her kids, which is fine. But no, she came with all the same dumb talking points that everyone else would come with. She had no way to demonstrate that Isaiah 7 was about a virgin birth. And it ended like every conversation on Isaiah ever ended. Also, that's all we talked about. We didn't talk about any other topic other than Isaiah 7. She heard that I was talking about prophecies. It's one of her favorite topics, apparently, as well. And she came in because she was going to set me straight on Isaiah, and it didn't go well. So she failed like everyone failed before her, because there's no way to justify Isaiah 7 being about Jesus. It just doesn't exist. If there was a way to, like an apologetic for getting Jesus in there, I would probably help some of our guests by running it. I would give them some assistance so that we can move on with the conversation faster and get to something interesting. But no, it's just all the same talking points. So that's all I know about that. Mm-hmm. Give me 1 second. Let's see. I got to write down notes for Matthew real quick because I don't want to forget what we talked about, because he's been up here so many times that I got to make sure I'm writing down something good. Let's see. Ba-ba-ba. Okay. Believe it or not, I think Will is next in, and then after Will is going to be D. So let me grab Will, and then we will grab D, and we'll keep the party rolling. I see loading dots. Maybe Will's going to connect. We'll see. Bueller? Anybody? No, I don't think that. Oh, they didn't connect. Okay, well, I guess Will didn't want to talk, so time to bring in D and see what we can work out here. All right, 1 second. Let's see. Get D over here on the screen. Oops, wrong button. Try this again. There we go. Get D on the screen. Welcome in, D. Are you at least 18? And do you believe in God? All right, 1 second. Yeah, 1 second. 1 second. I'm sorry. All right, I was just routing the audio real quick. Yeah, so you're over 18 and you do believe in God. Which God? Okay. Are you a specific type of Christian, like a Catholic, or just Christian? Okay. So, what do you? It's okay. What do you think is the best piece of evidence or argument for the Christian God?
Any type of religious background? Like, was there a certain turning point where you're like,
Well, give me 1 second. I gotta do one thing. All right, you guys should be able to hear the guest on TikTok now. Can you say something for us? Did you guys hear that? Oh, probably not. 1 second. I apologize. All right, what about now? Let's see if you can hear D. You hear my TikTok? No? I'm here, no? Weird. Wonder why the soundboard just quit on me. Odd. Okay. I guess we'll have to change the output to some error. Man, fucking audio routing is a nightmare tonight. Well, I'm implementing some new software that was supposed to make life easier, but I'm seeing a couple issues with my soundboard that doesn't want to quite cooperate. So we'll work on that. But you guys should be able to hear D now. I'm routing it directly to a cable inside of TikTok. Say something now for us, D. Y'all catch him? I can hear you great. For some, oh, you know what? Hold on. 1 second. I changed my audio. That's why, not yours. Oops. Okay, I gotta send my audio to. Oh, fucking A. That's not even the right thing. Okay. My apologies, friends. I was sending the guest audio to the wrong place. All right, say something for us now, real quick. Sorry, one more time, D. There we go. Now, when I send this audio to TikTok here in a second, I should be able to hear now. You guys got him? Give me a second. Yeah, they got you now. Said it's a shade echoey, but we can fix that really quick. Actually, give me 1 second. It's gonna be on my end actually. Try it now. Oh, they can't. Oh, because I turned it off. There you go. They should hear you now. D,
Now
can
I
you say
can't
something?
hear you, Justin. I
You
don't know
can't hear
if you
me?
changed something.
Jesus fuck! What a clusterfuck this soundboard is. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna disable my fucking soundboard and use the old one. I apologize. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All right, I'm just
Hello,
change the out.
hello.
Yeah. We'll just change the output to VB cable. Cool. VB cable A.
Hey, Justin, I can't seem to hear you now.
Yeah, I know. Okay, they should be able to hear you. And let me set my mic real quick.
Now, there are people saying I can. Now I can't hear Justin on my end on the phone. Maybe I can just unmute the YouTube.
Nah, don't worry about that. All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why, but my audio settings reverted back to the wrong settings.
So we all good now?
Yeah, you should be good. Good for the now. Yeah. So apologies for that, friends. Let me see if they can hear you on YouTube. I think on YouTube they can hear you.
Hello, hello. Check 1 2.
Yeah, they got you.
I'm seeing people saying they can hear both. Awesome.
Yeah, it should be all right. So back at the bar, my deepest apologies. What would be a good reason to believe in God? Preferably your God would be nice, but any God.
Yeah, I mean, since I was muted, I guess I'll just restate my position. I believe in the God of the Bible, the Holy Trinity. But I just kind of stumbled across your channel, Justin. I've been watching for a couple minutes, and I'd like to get a bearing on your belief and like your background. Were you ever a part of any religion? Are you atheist, agnostic? Like, what is your stance?
Okay, so I was a Christian for quite some time, probably close to 20 years. I am an atheist now. I would categorize myself as an agnostic atheist, only because I think agnosticism refers to your knowledge and atheism refers to your belief. And I would say I don't have knowledge of God, and I don't have a belief in God. And so that would put me in the camp of agnostic atheist.
Okay. Were you raised in the church? Were you Christian, Catholic? And was there like a certain turning point in your life that steered you away from the faith? Was it a gradual kind of falling away?
I would say for me, it was a gradual. It took me, my deconstruction was probably a decade long to get to the point where I just completely didn't believe at all. I had 12 years of Catholic school when I was younger, but I never really wanted to be part of the Catholic Church. I was a Protestant when I took Christianity seriously, although I would say there was some Catholic beliefs that I thought Protestantism was missing, so I kept some of those. But yeah, so I would have been probably a mix between Catholic and Protestant when I was a Christian. And to me, the thing that made the religion fall apart was the Bible. The Bible, I found, I couldn't find a good reason to trust it. And it seemed like it was making too many blunders to keep propping up on a pedestal.
Okay. Would you say, like, when you were a Christian, like, you had any, like, real experience of God? Or would you say it was more just, like, surface level, like you were just kind of taught certain things? Or were, like, there any points that you would attribute, at least in your belief back then, like, oh, like, this was God kind of, like, in this moment? Or was there never, like, any type of, like, radical kind of, like, encounter?
I don't know what you mean by radical, but yeah, obviously as a Christian, I would have said that there was moments where I encountered God or God encountered me, or things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because some people, like, including myself, there was, like, I mean, obviously from an atheist perspective, it's gonna sound crazy, but, like, that moment of being, like, born again, like, I felt, because I was raised kind of like the opposite of you. I was more atheist turned Christian, or, like, more New Age spiritual and turned Christian. I mean, I have a whole, like, testimony. I don't need to tell you guys it, but, like, I definitely was, like, encountered by God, and I just kind of felt like my old ways pass away, and I felt like my heart of stone turned to a heart of flesh, and really just, like, not liking the things I used to like, and just kind of loving God more, and just, like, loving the straight and narrow path. But I think I mean, I'm not a theologian, I'm not a scholar or anything. I don't use the big fancy words, and I don't have a ton of knowledge on the subject, but I think I know enough to, like, think that the Bible is true and real. Um, like, I think the biggest thing for me is, like, the historical evidence, the archaeological evidence. And I think, like, the more things we dig up archaeologically, it's like it kind of substantiates the Bible more rather than disprove the Bible. Whether it be, like, the Pontius Pilate stone, or, like, the papyruses of, like, the early gospels, like the Gospel of John, the papyrus of the Gospel of John, like, stuff we can carbon date to 40 to 70 years after the time of Christ, which, historically speaking, is very historically robust. And it definitely, those are, like, some key factors in me believing it. So, like, is there, like, a rebuttal for, like, the old carbon dated manuscripts? Like, how do you reconcile that? Do you think that's, like, not substantial enough?